10,000 years ago, I failed my tribulation and feigned death to survive. 10,000 years later, the Heavenly Tao Golden List has revealed the 40 strongest cultivators in the world. Every individual who appears on the list shall be granted a blessing by the Heavenly Tao. Legendary figures from antiquity to the present have emerged one by one. Demon sect emperors, immortal empresses, and formidable great beings of the demon race. Countless souls lament, for if the Xiaoyao immortal emperor from 10,000 years ago were still alive, he would undoubtedly have claimed the top spot. Now, the moment to reveal the rank 1 position approaches. Countless eyes are fixed upon the heavens, waiting in fervent anticipation. In the next instant, a majestic silhouette appears on the celestial scroll. A man clad in white robes, standing tall in the firmament, his hand gripping a 3-foot-long sword. As he turns to face the world and utters his arrogant declaration, everyone finally realizes that in the days I have been absent, all under heaven have become nothing more than lowly worms. Rank 1, Xiaoyao Immortal Emperor, Realm Heaven and Earth. A collective gasp of shock ripples through the masses. He did not die 10,000 years ago. In this very moment, the world is thrown into chaos, while I remain hidden deep within the crowd. I gaze at the golden list with a helpless smile. It seems my pretense can no longer be maintained. Above, the 4 golden characters of the Heavenly Tao Golden List float suspended in the high heavens. In the Qin province, Empress Liu Qinghen breaks her seclusion, her eyes wide with shock as she murmurs, "How could the Heavenly Tao be so stingy with its rewards? Perhaps this reward will finally grant me the power to break through the shackles of heaven and earth." Immediately afterward, a flicker of longing flashes in her eyes. If he were still alive, the first rank would undoubtedly belong to him. What a pity that he was born in the wrong era. Had this golden list appeared 10,000 years ago, Xiaoyao would surely have transcended the heavens. At the same time, the 4 immortal emperors of the Beast Sanctuary in the Demon Province look up toward the sky in unison. The Azure Dragon Immortal Emperor knits his brows and speaks, "This golden list is truly profound. Even I cannot see through its origins." The Black Tortoise Immortal Emperor chuckles, "This is a supreme treasure bestowed by the Heavenly Tao. How could the likes of us hope to decipher it?" The Vermilion Bird Empress smiles faintly. "As the 4 strongest immortal emperors of the demon race, surely we shall claim the top 4 positions?" The White Tiger Immortal Emperor scoffs coldly. "It is fortunate that he is dead, otherwise we would surely be suppressed beneath his heel." The other 3 nod in agreement. Had that man still walked this earth, the first position would not have even been a matter for debate. The voice of Hong Meng resonates once more. Rank 40, Qin Province Empress Liu Qinghen Realm, Early Stage Immortal Emperor, Reward, 5 Elements Grand Tao Origin Fluid and the Unending Sparrow Pill. The next second, golden light streaks toward the Qin Province. Liu Qinghan stares at the reward in utter shock. It is the Origin Fluid. With this Origin Fluid, I can break through the limitations of heaven and earth within 5,000 years. Meanwhile, in the Thunder God Palace, Lei Gentian seethes with rage. How can that wretched woman be ranked higher than me? Is she truly stronger than I am? He stares at the golden list, hands clenched. I must appear on this list. If I do not, I am surely doomed. In 9th place, the Lightning Immortal Emperor, Lei Gentian, who as an early-stage Immortal Emperor, was rewarded with a fragment of the Lightning Great Tao and the Lightning Sword. Upon hearing this, Liu Qinghan turned pale with shock. This was catastrophic. Since Lei Gentian has received such a magnificent reward, he will surely come to slay me within a few days. I must enter seclusion immediately. Lei Gentian, meanwhile, laughed incessantly. Liu Qinghan, you did not expect this, did you? My reward is superior to yours. This time you are certain to perish. Following this, the rankings shifted continuously. In 8th place, the Black Tortoise Immortal Emperor, Yuan Man, was stunned, wondering how he could only be ranked 8th. Is this golden board ranking these individuals at random? But upon hearing that his reward was the ancient Black Tortoise Essence Blood, he became ecstatic. Next, the 7th place went to the Azure Dragon, the 6th to the White Tiger, and the 5th to the Vermilion Bird. The Azure Dragon could not believe that the 4 of them had failed to secure the top 4 positions. What is the meaning of this golden board? Is it a fabrication? This golden board must be flawed. The Heavenly Tao has truly gone blind. As the White Tiger cursed, he was instantly struck by a bolt of heavenly lightning, turning charred black and collapsing to the ground unconscious. The Vermilion Bird sighed helplessly. It seems our strength is too meager, as we could not even reach the top 4. I truly wish to know who the top 4 are, to be even more formidable than us. Beyond the Demon Emperor, who else could there be? The voice of the Red Eye resounded once more. The announcements for today are concluded. The top 4 rankings will be revealed tomorrow. At a tavern in Qinzhou City, I was currently enjoying a chicken leg. I stood up, feeling that the announcements had ended far too abruptly. How truly uninteresting. Let us return. I watched as the golden board gradually dissipated, feeling somewhat unsatisfied, still wondering if the golden board would reveal my name. If it were to be revealed, how would those people react? To have to wait until tomorrow for the result. The Heavenly Tao is truly tedious. Waiter, fetch the bill. Waiter, the bill. I shouted loudly, reeking of alcohol. Sir, you have not yet exhausted the silver you left here last time. The waiter hurried over, helping me toward the backyard. This way, sir. Your carriage is inside. Afterwards, the coachman took me back to the old house on the mountain. This place is tranquil and comfortable, the sanctuary I chose after faking my own death. For I have resided here for many years. The villagers call me an immortal, for in all this time my appearance has never aged. Not long after the carriage driver left, a man arrived at my doorstep. He is my neighbor. He helped me to my bed, chuckling as he spoke. Uncle Lee, do you have need of a wife? Little Niu has seen you living in solitude for so long. It is time you found a companion. With my mind clouded by drink, I mumbled a reply. If you can bring one, then go ahead. Wait here, uncle. I shall bring someone to you immediately. Go, leave me be. In the stillness of the deep night, I drifted back to consciousness. In an instant, I unsealed my cultivation, the guise of a drunkard vanishing completely. The feeling of intoxication is truly comfortable. I shall continue to drink again tomorrow. I smiled faintly. Suddenly, I furrowed my brow, my divine sense sweeping toward the kitchen. There, a beautiful woman was busy preparing a meal. I moved a blur, instantly shifting to the kitchen, watching the woman's busy figure. I spoke with a frigid tone. Who are you, and what business do you have in my home? The woman's back stiffened in fear, and the bowl in her hand slipped. Yet, just as the bowl was about to shatter, I flicked my finger, using my spiritual power to steady it firmly in midair, placing it back where it belonged before fixing her with an ice-cold gaze. The woman turned around slowly. Upon seeing my face clearly, a flash of astonishment sparked in her eyes. That man had not deceived her. This man was truly incredibly handsome, yet she quickly reminded herself that she was an empress, tasked with seeking revenge. A moment later, she suppressed the turbulence in her heart and lowered her voice. It was Zheng Xiaoyu who brought me here. He said that you had agreed to become my husband. I was stunned. When did I ever agree to be her husband? Although this woman possessed a certain beauty, I have encountered countless women in my time. How could I possibly take a wife so recklessly? Upon reflection, I must have been intoxicated earlier and made a nonsensical promise to Xiaoyu. That was merely drunken ramblings. You should return home, for I have no need for a wife, I stated, directly ordering her to leave. I beg of you. The woman suddenly knelt. If I return, I shall surely die. I observed her with a calm expression. Seeing that I remained unmoved, she began to perform. She wept and recounted her tragic background, claiming she had been sold by her parents, and that if she were sent back, she would certainly be beaten to death. She even insisted she desired no status, asking only to remain here for 1 year. Once the time had elapsed, she would depart immediately. I remained silent for a long time, then suddenly asked, "What is your name?" "My name is Chen Ling." The woman was startled, then immediately replied, "Very well, you may stay. Find a room for yourself, but you are not to disturb my daily life." Having said that, I vanished into thin air. Chen Ling stared in astonishment toward the direction I had departed. In her heart she thought, this person is truly a cultivator. However, since he lives in seclusion here, his strength must at most be at the nascent soul stage. She glanced around the room, which was filled with spiritual energy, and muttered, "The spiritual energy here is truly abundant. Based on my experience from my previous life, I can certainly break through to the deity transformation stage within a year." The reason this woman wished to stay was for the spiritual energy found here. She was unaware that I had long since seen through her nature using my chaos divine eyes. She was in fact an expert from the continent. 5,000 years ago, she was betrayed and murdered by her own disciple. Only yesterday did she successfully possess this body, and her previous incarnation was the daughter of an old friend of mine. Such is the nature of fate. I sat in my room pouring a drink for myself and sighing at the ways of the world. Since she is the descendant of an old acquaintance, it is no trouble to let her cultivate here for a year. Just then, dark clouds suddenly blotted out the sky outside. In an instant, I sensed an aura belonging to an immortal emperor. It was not the Empress of Qinzhou, Liu Qinghan, but Lei Zhentian, who had arrived from elsewhere. I manifested high in the heavens, concealing myself in the shadows. Liu Qinghan let out a roar that shook the very earth and sky. "I am the immortal Emperor of Thunder. Come out and meet your end." When Liu Qinghan had yet to refine her rewards, Lei Zhentian arrived, wielding the immortal-grade Thunderbolt sword to stage an assassination. Liu Qinghan soared into the fray, declaring coldly, "Lei Zhentian, you are a defeated foe under my blade. Have you come seeking death once more? Liu Qinghan, you have clearly lost your mind. I am ranked 9th. How could I possibly be your defeated foe? Prepare to die today." And with that, the two immortal emperors clashed. The land of Qinzhou trembled violently. I smiled faintly, and channeled a strand of spiritual energy to stabilize the desolate mountain beneath me, sparing the mortals from the upheaval. The villagers below, seeing the mountain stabilize, knelt toward the peak and shouted that the immortals had manifested. In the aerial battlefield, despite Liu Qinghan fighting with her life, she suffered grievous injuries against her opponent's superior immortal artifact. Liu Qinghan, today is the anniversary of your death. Lei Zhentian laughed heartily, pointing his thunderbolt sword toward the center of her brow. Liu Qinghan closed her eyes in despair, tears streaking her cheeks as she whispered, Xiaoyao, I am coming to join you. Begun, I let out a cold snort, and a terrifying aura instantly enveloped the area. Lei Zhentian was struck as if by a massive force and sent flying backward. A flying sword, gleaming with icy light, halted precisely 1 centimeter from his pupils. Terrified out of his wits, Lei Zhentian trembled in fear. He stammered, pleading for mercy, Senior. This junior holds no grudge or enmity toward you. Why have you intervened? My voice echoed through the void, majestic and unfathomable. Do not set foot in Kinzhou for 100 years, or you shall perish. This junior guarantees he will not return for 100 years. Daring not to linger, Lei Zhentian transformed into a streak of light and fled. Liu Qinghan sat dazed on the ground, staring blankly into the void. Xiaoyao, is that you? No one answered her. She let out a self-deprecating laugh, thinking, he fell 10,000 years ago, how could it possibly be him? She swallowed an endless life pill and bowed toward the void. I thank you, Senior, for your intervention. I shall never forget this grace and will surely repay you in the future. I stood upon the rooftop, hands behind my back, watching the girl quietly, thinking, this is the last time I will intervene. In these 100 years, you must grow stronger. The following morning, the Heavenly Tao Golden List shone with brilliant radiance once again. As the Golden List manifested, it continued to unveil the top 4 rankings. In 4th place, Lord of the Underworld Lamin, Peak Mortal Emperor Realm, Rewards. Essence of the Grand Tao of Ghosts, Billion Soul Ghost Banner. What? It is the Lord of the Underworld again. Immortal Emperor Qinglong exclaimed in shock. Immortal Emperor Baihu gave a bitter laugh, as expected. These old men are all merely masters of mediocrity. We considered ourselves the strongest in the world. How embarrassing. Lamin of the Underworld's Nether Palace broke through his cultivation barrier and laughed heartily. Having hidden for 10,000 years, if my identity is revealed, I shall hide no more. The Heavenly Tao is indeed generous, yet a peak Immortal Emperor only ranks 4th. Following this, the voice of Hongmeng resounded across the heavens once more. In 3rd place, Lord of the Chaos Realm, Shu Peak Immortal Emperor Realm, Rewards. Essence of the Grand Tao of Destruction, Chaos Reincarnation Technique, Soul Devouring Blade. This time, even Demon Emperor Tianzhong could not remain seated. Yet another peak Immortal Emperor. If so, who could possibly claim the 1st rank? Could it be that there are truly beings beyond the Immortal Emperor realm in this world? The eyes of the entire world were locked upon the golden ranking scroll. The 4 divine beast emperors held their breath in anticipation. If Immortal Emperor Xiaoyao was no longer among the living, the Demon Emperor would surely be first. Liu Qinghan murmured to herself, if you were still alive, you would surely be the first, would you not? In her heart, only Li Lan was worthy of that position. The voice of Hongmeng echoed again, but it left everyone completely stunned. In 2nd place, Demon Emperor Tianzhong, Peak Immortal Emperor Realm, Rewards. Pure Essence of the Grand Tao of Demonic Arts, Ancient Demon God's Blood Essence, Demon Abyss Sword. Even the Demon Emperor only placed 2nd. Liu Qinghan's pupils constricted. Who then could possibly be first? In the Divine Beast Sanctuary, Baihu even dared to harbor a treasonous thought. This is too absurd. Could the 1st place truly be in existence beyond the Immortal Emperor realm, even though no one has transcended the heavenly tribulation in 50,000 years? Qinglong and Xuanwu shook their heads in succession, for the golden ranking verified that no such beings remained in the world. At that very moment, Zuke suddenly looked up at the golden scroll, her voice trembling slightly. Tell me, is it possible that Immortal Emperor Xiaoyao did not die? Zook's words caused the other 3 Immortal Emperors to widen their eyes in shock. Then Long shook his head repeatedly. Impossible. Everyone witnessed that tribulation lightning. Xiao Jiao was struck and instantly reduced to ashes. We have been searching for months. Not a single wisp of his soul or fragment of his physical body could be found. Even his storage ring was utterly destroyed. His artifacts were also pulverized into dust by the heavenly tribulation. Xuanwu sighed indeed. Back then the entire Xuanshen Immortal realm mobilized. They all coveted Xiao Jiao's artifacts and cultivation manuals. Yet in the end, not even a single hair was recovered. How could Xiao Jiao possibly still be alive? That line of reasoning is simply unrealistic. You're correct. Xiao Jiao is dead. Everyone witnessed it with their own eyes. The might of the heavenly Tao is not something he could ever hope to resist. His soul and spirit have long since scattered into the void. Baihu nodded in agreement, but Zhuge stared fixedly at the golden ranking, asking, do you not find this peculiar? If no corpse was found, on what basis can we conclude he is dead? This question plunged the 3 of them into deep contemplation once more. In short, he cannot possibly be alive. If he is still alive, I will return to my true form and let you ride me for 3 days, Baihu declared with absolute confidence. The other 2 laughed, but only Zhu gazed up at the golden ranking. Her eyes were filled with a profound sense of anticipation. Who exactly is this sacred figure ranked first? To be able to suppress so many immortal emperors? He certainly cannot be a nobody. At this moment, within the demon god palace, Tianzhong of the Demon Pearl Demon sect sat upon his throne, his face twisted with rage as he stared at the ranking, unable to believe his eyes. I am only ranked second? He could not comprehend it. With his cultivation at the great perfection of the Immortal Emperor realm, he was confident he could face any of the 4 divine beasts in single combat, yet he was only second. Previously, he had been absolutely certain that the top spot belonged to him. This ranking was nothing short of a slap to his face. How can this be? I am only second. Who could possibly hold the first position? Tianzhong muttered to himself, thinking that in his heart, only his deceased rival would have been worthy of surpassing him. But that person had fallen 10,000 years ago, and this did not align with reality. He stared intensely at the golden ranking, desperate to know who had stepped upon his prestige. The small mountain cabin, Chen Ling spoke with reverence, noting that the demon emperor was ranked only second. Was he not acknowledged as the strongest individual? And who exactly acknowledged him as the strongest? I walked leisurely behind her. Chen Ling turned, caught sight of me, and immediately let out a laugh. My lord, you are an immortal. Surely you know that Demon Emperor Tianchong is the strongest existence of this era. I replied with a mocking smile. And yet I heard that he has always been known as the eternal runner-up. I recalled the years when Tianchong challenged me repeatedly, only to be soundly defeated every single time. Whether it was vying for treasures in secret realms or competing in cultivation levels, he was always a step behind me, hence why the world dubbed him the eternal runner-up. Yes. Chen Ling turned pale with fright, hastily signaling for me to be silent. Do not speak so recklessly. Be careful lest someone hears you. The immortal emperor must not be insulted, and the demon emperor even less so. This, I could not help but chuckle. In those days, had I not humiliated him enough? You do not understand. Back then, it was the Xiaoyao immortal emperor who always overshadowed Tianchong. That is why he was called the eternal runner-up. However, Chen Ling looked up at the golden ranking list with a somber expression. But that Xiaoyao immortal emperor perished 10,000 years ago. Seeing her so sorrowful, I was momentarily stunned. Even if she had heard of my title, she should not be displaying an expression as if she had lost a loved one. You seem deeply saddened, I asked, puzzled. Chen Ling shook her head repeatedly, forcing Ace a smile as she said, It is nothing, I was merely reflecting on a few matters. In any case, the strongest current power is Demon Emperor Tianchong. If it is the supreme treasure, it will surely belong to him. I was completely unaware. In her previous life, Chen Ling had revered me as her spiritual pillar, following in my footsteps to eventually become a powerful master. Together, we gazed up at the golden ranking, waiting for the final announcement. And at the very moment the reward for second place was bestowed, the heavens and earth trembled violently, and the phantom of a god-demon manifested in the mortal realm. Its overwhelming presence far surpassed that of the previous 9 ranks, causing the entire world to stir in commotion. That this top rank was announced with such a miraculous phenomenon, it truly possessed a higher tier of prestige, leaving everyone even more eager to know who would be crowned first. The 9 immortal emperors, who made the list, all displayed signs of envy. Who, after all, could possess a presence of such magnitude? Amidst a thunderous roar, the golden tablet began to expand once more. It did not cease until it had grown to 3 times its original size, as an image of a battlefield materialized upon the heavenly screen. Mountains of corpses, seas of blood, war flames scorching the heavens, and the deafening roars of 10,000 demons. This was a tragedy of unimaginable proportions. Everywhere the eye could see lay mangled remains and pools of blood. Everywhere, savage demonic beasts let out blood-curdling cries. Humans were slaughtering one another, or locked in desperate combat against the beasts. Within the divine beast sanctuary, Qinglong was struck with profound astonishment. Does this look familiar to any of you? The other 3 nodded in unison. Suddenly, Xuanwu pointed at the light screen in horror. Qinglong, that is you. Within the image of Qinglong, its body covered in grievous wounds, lay gasping for its final breaths. And Qinglong was jolted awake, crying out in shock. This is the Celestial War, the great conflict from 20,000 years ago. The war where humans, celestials, demons, and beasts clashed solely to claim a single heavenly Tao immortal artifact. Qinglong's words triggered a flood of ancient memories within the other 3. Xuanwu's eyes widened. I remember now. Back then, we had yet to achieve the immortal emperor breakthrough. That battle plunged the world into total darkness. It raged for an entire year before it finally reached its end. It was the nightmare that had haunted his entire existence. Because there was only one protagonist in that war, and it was none other than me. I fought the masters of the world single-handedly, and in the end, I seized the immortal artifact. In that very battle, I achieved my breakthrough, becoming the first to ascend as an immortal emperor. Bai Hu spoke with uncertainty, but that great war occurred 20,000 years ago. Why would the heavenly Tao project these scenes now? Could it be that the number 1 ranking is connected to that war? As those words fell, all 4 gasped in unison, the same name surfacing in their minds. Xiao Yao Immortal Emperor. At that moment, the figure of Demon Emperor Tian appeared upon the heavenly screen. He sat disheveled before a mountain of corpses, laughing bitterly. As expected, the eternal runner-up is destined to be second. In the end, I could never surpass him. Seeing this, everyone was struck with terror. Even the Demon Emperor felt a sense of helplessness. If it is not yet, he has been dead for 10,000 years. Tian stared fixedly at the screen, a surge of joy rising within his heart. You are not dead, are you? You are still alive. If it is truly you, then I have remained the peerless champion for far too long. He yearns for the one who could defeat him to return to the Qinzhou Empress's palace. Lu Qinghong trembled with excitement. Xiao Xiao broke through to become an immortal emperor during that very great war. I remember now. She is certain that this silhouette belongs to him, only to him. You are definitely still alive, aren't you? How could an invincible existence ever be slain by the heavenly tribulation? At this moment, familiar figures began to appear on the heavenly veil, including many geniuses who had perished years ago, leaving countless people filled with regret. Then a sword appeared, a long silver blade with a kunpeng engraved upon its body. Those who had participated in the battle back then instantly recognized the kunpeng immortal sword. The kunpeng immortal sword soared across the heavenly veil, tearing the sky asunder. It was the first Qingxing heavenly immortal sword to appear in 50,000 years. Finally, it was firmly grasped by a figure in white robes. The me on the screen stood with his left hand behind his back, his right hand gripping the sword, his long hair flowing in the wind. Immortal Emperor Xiao Yao. Lu Qinghan shrieked with the intensity of a young maiden. Qinglong gazed at that silhouette, overcome with profound emotion. Of all under the heavens, who is worthy of wearing white? Only the immortal emperor named Xiao Yao. This saying is indeed true. The fear of being dominated 10,000 years ago once again stirred within the hearts of the other immortal emperors. Just then, the me on the screen turned his head slightly, revealing half of a peerless face, his cold gaze piercing through the heavenly veil, filled with a murderous aura that spanned the ages, after which the prophecy of the arrogant one echoed across the world. The day I am not here, the world is but a nest of insects, and so is the heavenly Tao. Such peerless dominance, apart from immortal Emperor Xiao Yao, no one else is worthy of uttering these words. The world erupted in fervor. Some lamented that the heavens are jealous of talent. Others were left shaken by this living legend. While I stood before the old house on the mountain peak, watching the image as it paused and offered a calm smile. This first-place position is truly meant for no one but me, the sacred grounds of the divine beasts. The 4 divine beasts all shook their heads with bitter smiles. The Azure Dragon said with regret, "These words are arrogant indeed, yet he truly possessed the strength to back them. It is a pity that he has already perished. In this life I have never yielded to another, yet he is the only one I ever respected." The White Tiger also gave a bitter smile. Xuan gazed at the silhouette upon the celestial screen, let out a long sigh and remarked, "Heaven envies the talented." At this point, do you still refuse to believe that the Saizun Immortal Emperor is still alive? Zuke said with a faint smile. The other 3 were shaken, yet they still shook their heads. They preferred to believe only what their own eyes had witnessed. The scene of Li Lanhun's soul and spirit skittering that day could not possibly have been a fabrication. Zook looked up at the celestial screen, her tone profound. There are times when what one sees is not necessarily the truth. It is possible we were deceived, and he has been hiding in the demon sect all along. Tianjung burst into raucous laughter, his laughter tinged with a measure of bitterness. The world is full of mere ants. Only you would dare to speak such words. For 10,000 years, he never had the courage to say this, because he knew he could not achieve it himself, as he had always been suppressed by that man, forever destined to remain second best. He mused to himself, if this is the case, how ye, is it truly you? Within the Empress's palace, Liu Qinghan looked like a young girl experiencing love for the first time. She gazed at the celestial screen, nearly drooling. He is so handsome, so overbearing. I am enamored. By now, she was certain that Li Lan was not dead, but the world is vast. Where could she go to find a man who had concealed his tracks so thoroughly? In the underworld, Li Ming remarked with a cold smile. I did not participate in that battle back then, but I still heard of your name. It is only a pity you died too early. Otherwise, I would have truly wished to cross blades with you. In the small cottage amidst the mountains, Chenling stared fixedly at the silhouette, her eyes filled with adoration, murmuring to herself, he is so handsome, so utterly dominating. Hearing this, I smirked and teased her. So do you not think I am more handsome than him? And Chen suddenly turned around, her eyes filled with killing intent as she coldly warned, I am warning you. Do not slander the Xiaoyao Immortal Emperor. But in an instant, remembering my strength, she stiffened and said, Apologies, my apologies. I spoke too harshly just now. I hope you will not cast me out. Seeing this descendant of an old acquaintance flip her attitude as quickly as turning a page, I chuckled inwardly. Is this girl influenced by her ancestor? I offered comfort. It is fine. Continue watching. Perhaps the Xiaoyao Immortal Emperor is truly still alive. This time, Chenling did not retort. She only tilted her head slightly to look at me. The side profile of the face on the celestial screen earlier made her feel, strangely, that he bore a resemblance to me. Yet, she immediately shook her head. Xiaoyao Xiandi was peerless and invincible. How could he possibly be someone living in such a remote, desolate wilderness? As the image upon the celestial veil dissolved, the voice of Hong Meng once again echoed across the heavens. 30,000 years ago, an immortal emperor of matchless talent was born. At 10, he achieved foundation establishment. At 18, the golden core. And at 30, the nascent soul. 2,000 years later, he ascended to become the foremost sword immortal, an emperor among the immortals. 20,000 years ago, he fought 10,000 foes single-handedly, successfully undergoing the tribulation to become an immortal emperor. He once declared that while he lived, all under heaven were but ants, the heavenly Tao included. For the 10,000 years that followed, he remained unrivaled throughout the world. It is only regrettable that 10,000 years ago, while attempting to shatter the heavens and earth, he encountered a calamitous lightning tribulation. A single moment of negligence led to his soul being scattered and his spirit extinguished. Upon hearing this, the four divine beasts and Tianzhong all wore expressions of despondency. Liu Qinghan was even more distraught, collapsing weakly onto the ground. If even the heavenly Tao had decreed that he had perished, how could it be otherwise? Chen Lung lowered her head in disappointment, turning to head back into the house. So, he had truly passed away. Only I looked up at the sky, the corners of my mouth curving slightly. This heavenly Tao clearly knows that I am still alive, yet it deliberately toys with the people here. The next moment, the voice of Hong Meng changed abruptly. For miracles always have a way of occurring. The immortal emperor possessed a life-preserving artifact. He had used this artifact to protect his life, defy the will of heaven, and successfully survive. Over the past 10,000 years, he feigned death and withdrew from the world, living thereafter as an ordinary man. Ranked first, Xiaoyao Xiandi Lilan. Cultivation, mid-stage heaven earth realm, rewards. Law of space, chaos reincarnation fist, and the bloodline of the primordial Kunpeng. The Xuanchen immortal realm erupted in a frenzy. Countless people cried out in astonishment. The one who suppressed the world 10,000 years ago is not only alive, but has even become the only individual to reach the heaven-earth realm. Within the Empress's palace, Liu Qinghan soared into the sky. Looking at the name on the ranking board, she wept tears of joy and immediately bellowed, "My 5 great generals." 5 figures appeared in a flash, kneeling prostrate upon the ground. "We are present. Immediately lead your troops to search every corner of Qin province. Bring everyone surnamed Li, who possesses an exceptionally distinguished appearance, into the palace for me. We will obey your command. Brother Xiaoyao, I will definitely find you." Meanwhile, in the demon continent, Tianzhong looked up and laughed heartily. "I knew you were not dead. You are still alive and well." He spoke with a stern, commanding tone. The 10 great demon generals obeyed the order, and 10 experts at the great perfection of the Saint Venerable Realm appeared. "Lord Demon Emperor, we are at your service." Tianzhong waved his hand, throwing out a scroll, and declared, "Produce 1,000,000 copies of this portrait. This is the portrait of the immortal Emperor Xiaoyao. You are to lead 1,000,000 members of the demon race to find this man. Remember this well. You must not tell anyone that this is immortal Emperor Xiaoyao. Only the 10 of you are to know. Failure to do so will result in death." Within the sacred beast territory, the expressions of the 4 sacred beasts were complex. The azure dragon sighed, remarking that Xiaoyao had already reached the mid-stage of the heaven and earth realm. The white tiger felt a sense of despair, realizing he had been suppressed once again. The vermilion bird glanced at the white tiger with a mischievous smile and said, "White tiger, remember to transform into your true form tomorrow. You are to let me ride you for 3 days. Sister vermilion bird, could you spare me this time?" The white tiger pleaded with a bitter, awkward smile. "Please." The vermilion bird turned and left, leaving the white tiger standing there, dazed and desolate. In the inn, the old storyteller clapped his hands in excitement. Although he had never met this hero, he had poured an entire lifetime of affection into the stories he told about him. In the small house on the mountain, Chen Ling's slender frame trembled slightly, unable to believe the truth. She suddenly looked at me and backed away repeatedly. "Could it be that you are truly the immortal Emperor Xiaoyao? Are you foolish? How could I possibly be the immortal Emperor Xiaoyao?" I replied with a cold laugh. "Have you ever seen an immortal emperor living in a place like this? If I possessed such power, I would have long been dwelling in a grand palace, just like the Empress." Chen Ling's expression darkened, and after pondering for a moment, she said with disappointment, "Very well, I suppose I've been overthinking things, but when I reflect upon it, the fact that the immortal Emperor Xiaoyao is still alive is already a wonderful thing." Watching her back as she walked into the kitchen with the corner of her mouth slightly upturned, I was left entirely speechless. How did a girl like this ever manage to become a great emperor in those days? Is she truly this easily deceived? I frowned slightly and withdrew a piece of green jade pendant. At this moment, the pendant was emitting a faint glow, as if it were warning me of something. What exactly is this jade pendant trying to tell me? I stared at the jade in my hand, lost in deep contemplation. This is the very artifact that saved my life all those years ago. I recall being struck by the heavenly tribulation. The jade pendant emitted this same emerald glow. It drew me in, casting me into a void of nothingness where it reconstructed my physical body and soul, allowing me to be reborn. Within the space of this jade, not only could I perfectly conceal myself from the heavenly Tao to continue my breakthroughs, but it also contains a vast amount of spiritual energy and the ability to suspend time itself. I have cultivated a spiritual field inside, now teeming with medicinal herbs and exotic fruits. A significant reason for my decision to settle here was the guidance of this very jade pendant. For 10,000 years, it had remained dormant until this very moment. What exactly is this jade that my parents left behind? Why did it bring me to this place? I muttered to myself. This pendant has been with me since birth. At the age of 3, I had already discovered its miraculous properties. It was by relying on the Xiaoyao Kunpeng body and the spiritual energy of the jade that I became the Xiaoyao Immortal Emperor, capable of suppressing the entire world. Yet, when I reached the foundation establishment stage at 10, my parents were nowhere to be found. I searched for 10,000 years, but that quest yielded no results. Today, the fluctuations of the jade have ignited a spark of hope. Perhaps they are still alive. It is even possible that the miracle of my rebirth, after the heavenly tribulation, was something they facilitated from the shadows. The first-class reward has arrived. The Heavenly Tao Golden List has completed its announcement, and spiritual energy is nearing its zenith. A brand new era is about to dawn. 3 years from now, the Supreme Golden List will reappear in the Immortal Realm. Following the voice of Hongmeng, the Golden List submerged into the horizon, the dark clouds dissipated, and the sky returned to its clear, pristine state. In my hand I held an ancient tome, a drop of essence blood, and a translucent fragment of the Heavenly Tao laws. I casually stored them within the jade, but my gaze remained fixed on the heavens, feeling the peak of the surging spiritual energy. Over the past 10,000 years, the spiritual energy in the Immortal Realm has grown increasingly sparse, a stark contrast to the era of my birth. For cultivators today, even achieving foundation establishment is a daunting task. They were truly born in an unfortunate age. I am certain that in the future, the heaven and earth realm will not stop where my current mid-heavenly cultivation stands. I am not certain that I can remain undisturbed forever, but that matters little. I have stated before that as long as I remain in this world, all beneath the heavens are but insects, the heavenly Tao included. I looked up at the sky, my eyes cold. The heavenly Tao issued no punishment, appearing to concede to my words, and the light of the jade dimmed once more. At a loss for words, I stowed it away and returned inside to continue my drink. By this time, the Xuanchen Immortal Realm had already begun to change. In less than 2 days, Liu Qinghan announced she would enter seclusion to break through to the perfection of the Immortal Emperor Realm. Following her were the 4 divine beasts of the Demon Continent, the Demon Emperor Tian Shizhong and Lua Ming of the Underworld. The Master of the Wandu Realm also announced their seclusion, vowing not to emerge until they reached a new heaven and earth cultivation realm. In an instant, the high-level cultivators of the Xuanqin Immortal Realm were swept into a frenzy of cultivation. I stood atop the mountain peak, my eyes swirling with the chaotic energy of the void. I caught a fleeting, indistinct glimpse of the future. Even my Chaos Divine Eyes could not see it clearly. The Chaos Divine Eyes had never encountered such a situation before. There is only one possibility. The shifts in the future have surpassed the scope of my vision, signaling that the times to come will be an era of total chaos. A faint omen warns me that I am inextricably linked to this turbulent age. The threads of karma are tangled like a spiderweb, impossible to unravel. In this world, all are but insects. No matter who they are, or what they might be, I shall slay any who dare to cross my path. I stood with my hands behind my back, emanating the aura that belongs to the realm of heaven and earth. The next morning, I lay on a chair, closing my eyes to rest, yet my body continued to absorb vast amounts of spiritual energy without cease. Master, master, the voices of the children rang out. I opened my eyes to see 4 or 5 children running toward me. Master, this is pickled melon my mother told me to bring to you. It is delicious. And mine, master. The braised pork my mother gave me is also very good. 2. Mine too. I smiled as I accepted their gifts, then turned to call for Chen Ling to come out. Chen Ling stepped forward. Her aura had already reached the 7th level of body tempering. To reach the 7th level in only 4 days. Beyond her foundation as a reincarnated great emperor, the spirit-gathering array here also played no small part. What is the matter? Chen took the food into the kitchen, yet she peered back through the doorframe, watching stealthily. Very well, everyone stand straight. Show me your progress one by one. If you do not satisfy me, you will be spanked. I clapped my hands and laughed. The children held me in great awe and immediately stood at attention. I looked at the little girl with buns in her hair. She possessed a spirit body with immense potential. Xiao Li, you go first and set an example for the others. Yes. Xiao Li threw a punch with solemn focus. At first it was soft and devoid of force, but as her movements flowed, they stirred the spiritual energy, revealing a hint of profound essence. Hidden behind the door, Chen Ling's eyes widened. As a reincarnated great emperor, she recognized at a glance that this technique was truly extraordinary. She was struck with shock and suspicion. Could Li Xiaoyao truly be the legendary Emperor Xiaoyao? If not, how could he The names of the two individuals are far too similar. She secretly practiced the movements in the kitchen, and performed them once in their entirety, feeling her blood boiling, and sensing that a breakthrough in her cultivation realm was imminent. She wished to continue learning, but seeing the children begin to eat the fruit, she sighed to herself, I shall continue my secret study tomorrow. Suddenly, a surge of energy erupted within the courtyard. Master, I feel incredibly hot, and my head aches. After finishing the fruit, Xiaoli's expression was one of discomfort. I smiled calmly, and produced a marrow cleansing pill. You are about to grow stronger. Swallow this medicinal pill at once. Xiaoli swallowed the medicinal pill without a moment's hesitation. Chen Ling, watching from behind the door, was filled with astonishment. To think this young girl had achieved a breakthrough to the first stage of body refining so quickly. Furthermore, Leland was actually in possession of a marrow cleansing pill. Filled with a mixture of admiration and doubt, she thought to herself, I recall a rumor circulating within the cultivation world. The immortal Emperor Xiao Yu detests eating fish. Perhaps I shall prepare a fish dish to test him. With this thought in mind, she immediately went out to purchase a fish. Half an hour later, the children had all departed. Chen Ling returned carrying the fish. She approached me with a hint of awkwardness and asked, the medicinal pill you gave Xiao Li earlier, I happen to have a marrow cleansing pill here. Smiling with a hidden agenda. Do you truly have one? What is it? Chen Ling swallowed hard and asked, would you be willing to give it to me? Certainly not. You and I are not acquainted. Why should I give it to you? I promptly tucked the medicinal pill away. Chen Ling spoke hurriedly, gritting her teeth. I will help you wash clothes and cook meals. I shall take care of all the chores. Is that acceptable? Are those not the duties you were supposed to perform anyway? I said with a laugh. And just as Chen Ling stood there in confusion, Zheng Xiaoniu rushed up the mountain and fell to his knees. Uncle Li, it is terrible. A group of people has arrived in the village, and they intend to abduct Xiao Li. Uncle Li, I beg of you, please save that child. My gaze instantly turned as cold as ice. I shall go. Chen Ling volunteered. I looked at Zheng Xiaoniu and said, take her down with you. Zheng Xiaoniu looked at Chen Ling with a moment of hesitation. Uncle Li, is that really all right? It is, of course, acceptable. Chen Ling puffed out her chest and held her head high. I instructed Xiaoniu to take her down the mountain, while I remained behind to continue eating my fruit. At the foot of the mountain, at the edge of the village, release my daughter. You blind fool. Our senior brother has taken an interest in your daughter. Do you dare show disrespect to an immortal? The man in green robes struck the mother of Xiao Li with a single slap, sending her flying. Xiao Li's mother, weeping, threw a punch in retaliation. The man in green robes laughed. Senior brother Su dodged the strike with ease, a glimmer of interest flashing in his eyes. Senior brother Su, this girl actually knows a fist technique. It appears even stronger than the techniques of our sect. Senior brother Su sneered and reached out to seize her. Kill anyone who dares to resist, and here I thought it would be someone significant. A group of body refinement stage 5 cultivators, and one at stage 8 actually dare to openly abduct children? You are courting death. Chen Ling soared into the fray, felling one of the disciples with a single punch. Who are you? Senior brother Su exclaimed in shock. So, you are at the 7th stage of body refinement. No wonder you are so brazen, but what of it? I am at the 8th stage. Die. Chen Ling, the reincarnated empress, annihilated these men in the blink of an eye. Zheng Xiaoniu watched from the sidelines and loudly praised her, remarking that she was truly worthy of being taught by Uncle Li. Chen Ling suppressed the urge to retort. After all, she had only just secretly learned my fist technique. A practitioner at the 7th stage of body refinement, capable of leaping levels to slay outer disciples of the martial sect, while possessing an innate spirit body, capable of executing such a peculiar technique. This trip has indeed yielded substantial rewards. An elderly voice echoed out, and an old man appeared behind Chen Ling, though no one had noticed his arrival. Chen Ling stared intently at the old man before her, a chill rising within her heart. She could not discern the opponent's cultivation level. This person was undoubtedly above the golden core stage. Little girl, come here. The old man sneered and gestured, and a terrifying invisible force constricted around Chen Ling's throat, lifting her clear off the ground. It was the crushing spiritual pressure of a golden core expert. Although Chen Ling was a reincarnated empress, attempting to resist a golden core cultivator with a mere body refinement physique was far too taxing. Just as she prepared to exhaust the last of her soul power to drag him down with her, a cold voice rang out like a thunderclap in a clear sky. Kneel. The old man's knees slammed heavily into the ground with the sickening sound of shattering bone. The crunch was audible to all. In agonizing pain, the old man threw his head back and let out a harrowing shriek, consumed by sheer terror. Realizing that anyone capable of suppressing a golden core expert with such ease was far beyond his reach, he scrambled to plead for mercy. I was wrong. I do not know where I have offended you. Senior, I beg of you, please spare my life this once. Chen Ling stumbled, barely able to keep her footing as I appeared before her, though I could not recall exactly when I had moved. To the villagers, I was their pillar of stability, yet I paid no mind to their reverent gazes. I took a step toward the old man, and with every stride I took, his heart hammered against his ribs in terror. Senior, I am willing to serve you as a beast of burden. I beg you, spare me. The old man pressed his face into the dirt, his body trembling on the verge of collapse, as I told him to take a deep breath. It will be over soon, I spoke in a calm, indifferent tone. Before the old man could even react, his body spasmed violently. His eyes rolled back, and within 3 breaths, his life force was completely extinguished. His soul was utterly obliterated. Chen Ling, standing behind me, watched in stunned silence. That was the soul-devouring technique, a truly malevolent art. Could he be one of the demon race? As I called out her name, Chen Ling snapped back to reality. Listen, you will watch over the others. I am leaving, but I shall return shortly. As the words left my lips, I vanished from the spot. Through the soul I had just seized, I had pinpointed the location of the soul refining sect deep within the mountains. To think these people would slaughter their own kind simply to cultivate such wicked arts. Such bestial behavior deserves no mercy, and their existence is no longer necessary. In a heartbeat, I arrived in the sky above the soul refining sect. Looking down at their feeble grand protective array, I calmly uttered a single command: break. The sect's defensive formation shattered instantly. Who is the sect master of the soul refining sect? A cultivator at the peak of the nascent soul stage roared as he took to the air. Who are you to dare destroy the protective array of my soul refining sect? I'm here to end you all. I am a reasonable man. So I shall give you 2 choices. Kill yourselves or be killed by me. Choose. My voice rang out like a great bell echoing across the mountains, arrogant to the extreme, and to them a death sentence. Enraged, he struck out with his palm, and a massive hand formed of spiritual energy descended upon me. As the palm imprint stopped inches from me, I said coldly, "It seems you have made the choice for everyone, then die." In an instant, the hand of the sect master of the soul refining sect knelt in mid-air, horrified to discover that his entire sect, from top to bottom, was disintegrating into dust. Sect master, I do not want to die. Please, I do not want to die. Sect master, even as a ghost, I will not spare you. Shrieks of agony echoed incessantly through the air. The sect master screamed in utter despair. You are a heartless butcher. You will surely face retribution. The heavenly Tao will never forgive you. Before he disintegrated into ash, he heard my final reply. The heavenly Tao? Does it dare? All beneath the heavens are merely ants, and the heavenly Tao is no different. With a single thought, the soul refining sect was razed to the ground, and I returned to the village. Tran Lin was waiting anxiously, and upon seeing my return, she hurried forward. Are you unharmed, my lord? I am fine, finished. Let us return. Back at the small house in the woods, I casually tossed a cleansing marrow pill to Tran Lin, remarking, You did well. Remember to prepare a meal. Thank you, my lord. Tran Lin accepted it with joy, and before long the food was served at the table. Tran Ling followed the villager's lead in addressing me. Immortal Master Li, the meal is ready. I stood up and walked toward the kitchen. Eat the fruit on the table. Tran Lin, assuming it was an ordinary fruit, took a casual bite, only for a surge of intense spiritual energy to erupt within her body. She achieved an immediate breakthrough to the 10th stage of body refining, and shortly thereafter, aided by the power of the cleansing marrow pill, she surged forward to reach the foundation establishment stage. I have achieved a breakthrough to foundation establishment. In the midst of her excitement, she suddenly recalled the dish of fish she had prepared, specifically to test me. Rumor had it that the free and unfettered Immortal Emperor despised fish. She rushed to the kitchen in a panic, only to find nothing left on the plate but a perfectly clean fish skeleton. You have arrived? I thought you would not eat it. But once one reaches the foundation establishment stage, there is no longer a need for food, nor is it strictly required. Wash the dishes. I patted her shoulder and vanished. Tran Ling stood frozen in place, her mind filled with a whirlwind of confusion. It seems he is not the free and unfettered Immortal Emperor. How could a majestic Immortal Emperor be so unpicky about food? She could not have known. In those years, I dove deep into the ocean for 3 months solely to seize treasures. I had never held a grudge against the fish. To my quarters, I produced a flask of immortal nectar. With my divine sense blanketing Qin province, I savored the wine alone, observing the myriad facets of human existence. Over 10,000 years, the loneliness brought by invincibility has seeped deep into my very marrow. I set my wine cup down and offered a faint smile to the vacant air. Since you have arrived, why not sit and have a drink? In an instant, time and space froze. The birds ceased their flight, the falling dust hung suspended, and the entire Xuan Chen immortal realm came to a standstill. A cold, alluring woman clad in white robes manifested in the air. She picked up the cup I had poured and remarked with a sneer, "I never expected the foremost heavenly emperor beneath the heavenly Tao to be idling here, drinking wine. You truly disappoint me." I remained expressionless, glancing at this uninvited guest. "Heavenly Tao, what brings you here?" "You are the heavenly Tao. Instead of managing the Shen Immortal realm, you come to find me for a drink?" "Lilan, I think you are aware that a momentous event is approaching. Both you and I will find it difficult to survive." "You are mistaken, it is you who will struggle to survive. I can depart from this place at any time. Let me tell you plainly, in 10 days, spiritual energy will erupt, and the Xuan Shen Immortal realm will revert to the ancient era." The voice of the heavenly Tao was glacial. I raised an eyebrow but listened as she continued. "Have you considered that the ancient monsters of that era will awaken alongside it?" I leaned back into my chair. "And so what? What does that have to do with me? If those ancient monsters wish to awaken, let them awaken. Right now I only wish to remain at peace." "Lilan, I refuse to believe you truly think that way. Do you still refuse to face the truth? Can we speak plainly?" "What do you mean?" My gaze gradually turned cold. The heavenly Tao regarded me with a look of ridicule. "Do you truly believe that no one knows your identity? Do you really think you can discard your past and start over, Lilan? Do not be so naive." "Lilan, no, I should address you as Li Xiaoyao, is that correct? Is this your new name? Or should I call you the Kunpeng Saintess instead?" I fell into deep contemplation, yet he continued to press forward relentlessly. "When you broke through to the heavenly emperor realm, your memories of a past life were awakened, were they not? How did you die in your previous life? I am the one who witnessed it with my own eyes. You were a bastard born of the human race and the Kunpeng clan. The Kunpeng clan deemed your bloodline base and lowly, launching a lethal strike against you. Do you truly believe your rebirth was a coincidence? I have known everything since the moment of my awakening. I was once the Kunpeng heavenly emperor of the eternal age. Because I was regarded as an abomination by my own kin, they besieged me until my death, leading to these 20,000 years of reincarnation. Just as I said, the ancient monsters of the eternal age will all awaken. The Kunpeng clan is no exception. They will inevitably seek you out and strike you down once more." The heavenly Tao gave a cold laugh. "That is correct. The disappearance of your parents is also linked to the Kunpeng clan." I suddenly looked up, my killing intent surging toward the heavens. "What do you know?" Heavenly Tao appeared highly satisfied with my reaction. "So you wish to know? Then you must fulfill one condition. 10 days from now the primordial age shall be reborn. I require you to help me locate 8 sacred relics. Once you have gathered them all, I shall provide you with the answers. For now, simply focus on becoming stronger. The grand trend of the future is not as simple as you believe." Xiaoyao Heavenly Emperor, the heavenly Tao vanished into thin air, and space-time returned to normal, leaving only a scroll emitting an ancient aura resting upon the table. I gazed at the scroll, my eyes clouded with melancholy. I unfurled the scroll to reveal a detailed map of the Xuanshen Immortal Realm. I have traveled across every corner of the Immortal Realm and know it like the back of my hand. Yet this map contained many symbols I had never seen before. Combining this with the eye of the heavenly Tao, I surmised these must be the primordial ruins hidden deep beneath the surface. I retrieved the scroll, the killing intent in my eyes intensifying. "Kunpeng clan, if you dare to descend, I shall slaughter every last one of you." In a flash, 5 days had passed. Chen Ling had completed her refinement, reaching the perfection of the foundation establishment stage. On that day, a knock sounded at the door. "May I ask if Li Xiaoyao is present?" Chen Ling emerged from the kitchen to find several silver-armored guards surrounding a man in golden armor. All of them possessed the cultivation of the golden core stage. "What is your business with Li Xiaoyao?" The commander in golden armor spoke in a deep, gravelly voice. "We are sent by the Empress's palace. Rumor has it that a celestial emperor by the name of Li resides here. Is there any truth to this?" Chen Ling was stunned. Was Liu Qinghan truly searching for someone named Li? Could she be hunting for the Shijiao celestial emperor? As she pondered this, I pushed open the door and stepped out. "Is there a problem?" I spoke indifferently, and upon seeing my refined features, the expressions of the guards shifted instantly. The golden-armored commander opened his mouth to speak, but his eyes suddenly glazed over. He shook his head and muttered, "Apologies for the disturbance." With that, the entire group departed without another word. Chen Ling turned to me, bewildered. "What just happened? Were they not here to find you?" "What are you talking about? They represent the Empress's palace. Why would they seek me out?" I replied casually. "But..." Chen Ling swallowed the words that were on the tip of her tongue. Seeing them leave after a single glance, she became even more convinced that I was not the celestial emperor they were looking for. "You are on the verge of breaking through to the golden core stage," I said, tossing her a few fruits. "Hurry and mature. The world is about to change." Qing's accepted the fruits with a grave expression. "Many thanks." No sooner had she returned to the kitchen to prepare for her breakthrough than the ground began to tremble violently. The mountains shook and the earth heaved as if the end of days had arrived. But with a cold command from me, the tremors ceased instantly. The jade pendant hidden against my chest flashed with a frantic, brilliant green light. The towering mountain before us suddenly erupted. With a thought, I turned the falling debris into nothingness. The peak began to vent a terrifying aura of raw energy. Immediately after, a strange guttural roar forced Chen Ling to her knees, clutching her head in agony. I remained completely unaffected, finding the sound oddly familiar. With a wave of my hand, I erected a grand formation to shroud the mountain, then flickered inside to the deepest depths, where a massive dragon-like creature was bound by countless heavy chains. Kun, I exclaimed in shock. I am the Kunpeng Saintess, and the creature before me is the progenitor of the Kunpeng. This feast's life force was waning. Its cultivation only at the foundation establishment stage, yet it was restrained by a sealing formation so profound that even I could not discern its secrets. It was sealed with absolute precision. Li Xiaoyao, I have been waiting for you for a long time. The faint voice echoed within my mind. You know me? Of course. The Kunpeng jade in your possession was the very gift I bestowed upon your parents. That year, your parents saved my life, and I am merely repaying that debt. I looked down at the jade pendant. It turns out its name is the Kunpeng jade. The Kunpeng jade is the exclusive life-out artifact of the Kunpeng Saintess. I left you a heaven-defying opportunity for resonance, but it seems you have already used it. My heart was filled with shock. Which generation of the Kunpeng Saintess are you? I have forgotten. It has been far too long. I only know that I have been imprisoned here for millions of years. Millions of years? I summoned the Xiaoyao Immortal Sword, and the spiritual sword Qi struck the chains, only to vanish instantly. Do not waste your efforts. These Kunbinding chains were forged by several heavenly emperors, and combined with the heaven-locking grand formation surrounding this place, even the heavenly Tao itself cannot undo them. I cannot escape. Kun recounted to me. Because she loved a human, she was branded a disgrace by the Kunpeng clan. Not only was her lover's soul scattered, but she too was suppressed here. Being drained of her cultivation day and night, I gripped the immortal sword tightly, as a killing intent I had not felt in a long time surged within my heart. I will find a way to save you. It is useless. In less than 10 days I will die here. How I long to go outside and see what the world has become. Seeing that she could not move, I brought out the drop of eternal Kunpeng essence blood gifted to me by the heavenly Tao. I wonder if this drop of essence blood can be of help. Kun was incomparably astonished. It is actually the eternal Kunpeng essence blood. With such a treasure, why do you not refine it yourself? By consuming it, you could transform into the Kunpeng heaven-swallowing divine body and become a true Kunpeng. I take pride in being a human, and I see through that race as nothing more than a physical shell. I have other methods. Say no more. Just use it. As the essence blood entered her body, Kun's aura began to skyrocket frantically. At this moment, an arrogant shout echoed from outside the mountain. Get out here, you wretch inside. This place belongs to us. This is the territory of the White Cloud sect of Kinzhou. If you know what is good for you, get out of here immediately. A cold glint flashed in my eyes as I spoke to Kun. Continue your recovery. I will head out and sweep away the trash polluting our mountain. Countless cultivators hovered in the sky, led by Sectmaster Chu Yi of the White Cloud sect, accompanied by human immortal stage powerhouses from other factions. The formidable pressure from Wang Chen forced Chen Ling and the villagers to the ground, to the point where their bones were on the verge of shattering. Who are you people? I levitated into the air, my expression frigid. Chu Yi could not discern my cultivation level, and though he felt a flicker of doubt, he saw that Chen Ling was merely at the foundation establishment stage, leading him to assume I was relying solely on a magical treasure to conceal my true strength. Little brat, this is the territory of the White Cloud sect. Any treasure found within belongs to us. Chu Yi spoke with arrogance. You have 5 breaths to leave or you shall perish. I watched them with absolute calm. Chu and Wang Chen exchanged a glance and sneered. Kid, do not think a concealment treasure is enough to frighten us. Attack, crush this brat into dust. Be careful. Chen Ling cried out in terror. The 5 breaths had passed. If you have chosen to court death, then so be it. The spiritual energy within my body erupted. In an instant, every cultivator within a 1,000-mile radius exploded into blood and gore, their souls annihilated. I looked down at Chen Ling, who stood below with her eyes wide and mouth agape, her face a mask of disbelief. I paid no mind. She was clearly shaken by my display of killing 2 human immortals with a single thought. As for the villagers, they cheered in jubilation, their eyes filled with even greater awe and reverence for me. I gazed down at the mountain, brought 2 fingers together, and gestured forward, shouting in a cold voice. Formation of Calamity. The sun and moon rotation formation activated, and in a heartbeat the array surged across the 1,000-mile radius. I inscribed talismans into the air, pointing them toward the villagers and gave them my instructions. I have laid down this formation. Others who trespass upon this mountain will lose their way and become hopelessly lost. Only you may move about freely, and while within the mountain, the formation will protect you. You will never have to worry about being harmed again. Returning to the mountain, the Kun had recovered to the Saint Realm. Thank you. The Kun's voice echoed in my mind. There is no need for formalities. Your recovery is all that matters. I know of a place where we may find a way to shatter the forbidden formation here. Wait for my return, and I shall liberate you. Travel, with caution. I can sense the spiritual energy gradually replenishing. A great upheaval is coming to this world. I am well aware of it. With a flash, I returned to the small dwelling. Tranlinge gathered her courage and stepped forward to ask, Li Xiaoyao, who are you exactly? I did not answer directly, instead casually producing countless medicinal pills, each considered a divine elixir to her. As I instructed Tranling to look after those under my care, she stared at the table filled with pills, her pupils contracting as she tremblingly asked, Are you truly? I smiled and replied, I gave you the answer to that question from the very beginning. Tranling stood as if struck by lightning, her expression shifting violently. She must have recalled the remark I made days prior about whether I resembled someone. Are you truly the Xiao Immortal Emperor? She cried out in astonishment and hurriedly bowed low to offer her respects. I apologize. I have spoken most presumptuously to you in the past. Think nothing of it, little girl. I have no time to be offended by you. I leave this place in your charge. Await my return. When she raised her head, I had already vanished without a trace. Utilizing a supreme divine ability, I traversed tens of thousands of miles of the void. I descended upon the sacred land of formations, situated at the crossroads of Lijiao and Sea. Hovering above the sacred grounds, I shouted coldly, I am the Xiaoyao Immortal Emperor. Zhen Yantian, come forth and face me. In an instant, a crushing pressure descended, shattering the sect's protective formation inch by inch. 100,000 disciples collapsed to the ground, unable to rise. Xiaoyao Immortal Emperor, for what purpose have you come? A furious roar echoed as a young man in white robes ascended. Zhen Yantian hovered in the air, his spirit wavering as he stared at me. I curled my lips in a cold smile. Zhen Yantian, your skills have improved, have they not? To think you are now capable of using layers of forbidden formations to withstand my aura. Lilan, over 10,000 years ago, when you were merely an immortal emperor, you broke into my sacred land of formations and plundered countless manuals on forbidden arrays. You even slaughtered our ancestor, and we chose not to pursue the matter. Yet today you dare to return, is this not going too far? He bellowed, and what of it? I let out a cold laugh. I have come today to borrow the restricted arts of the lotus. Once I have secured the necessary manual, I shall depart of my own volition. You go too far. Not think for a moment that I am truly afraid of you. Zhen Yantian's hands danced through the air. For over 10,000 years, my master and I have studied the Tao of formations day and night. Now that my mastery of the formation arts is complete, even you will not find it easy to breach my defenses. Hundreds of grand formations rose from the earth. I summoned the Xiaoyao Immortal Sword and unleashed a casual strike. The sword key collided with the barrier, dissipating the clouds for 10,000 miles. Yet the formation remained completely unscathed. Not bad. Zhen Yantian, your formation arts are commendable, but are we truly on such familiar terms? After observing for a moment, I had already discerned the truth behind his setup. It turned out these were multiple layers of arrays interwoven together. When an external force strikes, it is dispersed across the entire structure. You have laid out 724 such arrays. The outermost layers are the strongest. They systematically break down power, eroding it bit by bit. By the time the force reaches the final layer, my strength has been whittled down to a mere physical level. Zhen Yantian turned pale with shock and retreated several steps. You could actually see through it? Zhen Yantian, my mastery of formations is not inferior to yours. Perhaps you are unaware that your ancestor was not killed by me, but died because he lost a contest of formations against me, leading to the collapse of his very life force. Impossible. You spout nonsense. My ancestor's grasp of formations arts was profound. How could he possibly be no match for you? It was indeed you who killed him. Believe what you will, I said with a shrug. But your formation is not quite absolute. Let me see where the formation eye lies. Zhen Yantian laughed coldly. You wish to know the location of the formation eye? This was forged by my master in Midday, and, as the first barrier shattered, I maintained the gesture of a light fingertip strike, and smiled as I said, as expected, it was right here. Breaking it was quite simple, was it not? His heart hammered in his chest. The second layer exploded. How is this possible? Zhen Yantian's face turned the color of ash. Half an hour later, every flick of my finger shattered several more layers. In the end, I broke 5 formations in a single breath. As the 724 layers of barriers were reduced to the final one, I withdrew my hand and looked down at him from above. The formation you take such pride in is, in my eyes, nothing more than trash. Zhan Tian, do you submit? With a dull thud, he knelt in midair, staring at the final barrier that remained perfectly intact, and bowing his head tremblingly, he said, I submit. I withdrew my pressure and stepped into the sacred ground. Your formation skills are quite poor, though to have conceived of such a formation is already impressive. Do not be discouraged. He smiled bitterly and said, Kill or spare me, the choice is yours. I will not kill you. The death penalty may be waived, but punishment for your sins remains. Follow me. I brought him back to the mountain in Qin Prefecture in the blink of an eye. Upon seeing the giant kun, Zhang Tian turned pale with shock. That demon beast is massive. What kind of demon beast is this? A kun, the predecessor of the Kunpeng. Could it be that the Kunpeng clan has not yet gone extinct? I shook my head, saying, as it stands, they have simply not revealed themselves. However, I did not bring you here to look at the kun, but for the forbidden arrays and formations surrounding this place. Zhang Tian rushed toward the cliff face, obsessively caressing the runes. These runes are truly exquisite. The sequence of runes intertwines, forming a forbidden array of unbelievable perfection. Who could have laid out such a formation? Was it you? No, this formation was set in place millions of years ago. Their strength was immense. Even I cannot fully fathom its depths. Upon hearing millions of years ago, he fell into a state of fanatical research. Did you bring me here for me to help you break it? He asked with suspicion. That is certainly not the case. I intend for you to stay here and decipher it. I do not have the time to break it alongside you. I smiled and found the most suitable living quarters for him. Rather than wasting my own effort learning how to break the forbidden formations here, it is better to let Zhang Tian do the work for me. You do not have a choice. You have no right to negotiate. I smiled, pointing a finger at his sea of consciousness, and a restrictive seal immediately formed deep within his soul. You must not disclose the secrets of this place, nor may you defy my will. Once you have dispelled all the restrictive formations here, I shall naturally grant you your freedom. As Zhang Yantian trembled, smiling helplessly. In passing, I dangled the bait. If you wish for my assistance, speak plainly. I will arrange a teleportation array. You may return to the sacred land at any time. Furthermore, I promise that if the sacred land encounters a great catastrophe, I will intervene to assist you once. You must break the restrictive formations here within 1 year. 1 year. Zhang Yantian widened his eyes. You might as well kill me, I replied. Not only will I not kill you, but I will slaughter your wife. I will annihilate your sect in the sacred land and raze it to the ground. My expression remained calm, yet my words were cold as ice, he muttered. They say you are cruel and heartless. It is truly so, then I shall give it my all. He sighed, finally, relenting. At this moment, Kun called out in my mind. Have you returned? I have found someone to break the restrictive formations. I trust you will be freed before long. I have one final request. Will you grant it? Speak, I replied. Help me determine if my child is still alive. Kun's voice revealed a sense of frailty. I will give you the location. You must help me find it. My child still bears the Kunpeng divine seal that the Kunpeng clan once bestowed upon me. The Kunpeng divine seal. My heart stirred in astonishment. That is the supreme treasure of the Kunpeng clan. If you help me find my child, regardless of whether they live or die, that treasure shall be yours. Very well, I accept. I stepped into the Manchi demon continent. The air was filled with the discussions of demon beasts. Someone actually dares to come here? Are they courting death? Lord Lion King has been hunting humans lately. Does this person still dare to enter? I shall wait to watch this spectacle. High in the air, a dozen lions roared, their backs carrying fox demons with ferocious expressions. Who has arrived? Why did you not announce your identity upon entering Lion King City? Amidst the clamor, I knelt down, and the pressure within my body erupted. The lions in the demon clan fell from the sky simultaneously, prostrating themselves on the ground. That tiger demon was filled with extreme terror. Who are you? Is this not Wild Lion City? Why do you call it Lion King City? I asked with a cold voice. Because this is the stronghold of Lord Lion King. I recall that the demon clan and the human race established a covenant not to slaughter one another within each other's territories. Unless it is elsewhere. The fox demon trembled all over. I do not know. I am merely acting under orders. Everything was directed by Lord Lion King. Then how many humans have you slaughtered in total? I truly do not know. All of this was ordered by Lord Lion King. If you know nothing, then perish. I flicked my finger and the fox demon instantly exploded. I stepped toward the Lion King's manor. The demons wherever I passed knelt in submission, and the Lion King frantically tore the black cloth from his eyes. Who possesses such terrifying pressure? This is the Earth Immortal realm. No, that cannot be right. At the very least, it is the Heaven Immortal realm. He collapsed to the floor, shouting in despair, Senior, what is the meaning of this? Just a lowly lion at the true immortal stage. Yet you dare to violate the covenant of the demon clan, cruelly slaughtering humans and even imprisoning them in dungeons to torture for your amusement. You certainly have bold courage. It seems I did not kill enough back then, or you would not have forgotten so quickly. The Lion King's heart and soul trembled. You are the Xiaoyao Immortal Emperor. Lord Heaven Emperor, please allow this small one to explain. A surge of blood covered the area, and the Lion King was utterly annihilated, body and soul. I released the humans trapped in the dungeon. My voice, like a great bell, echoed throughout the demon province. Within 5 days, if I see even a single human held captive in the demon province, you 4 great divine beasts, clean yourselves up and wait for my arrival. The holy hall of divine beasts was thrown into total chaos. Who is it that possesses such arrogance? The aura of the 4 great divine beasts was truly terrifying. Aside from Ziyu Immortal Emperor, who else could it be? The 4 divine beast immortal emperors were horrified, and the vermilion bird's gaze turned somber. Investigate. Immediately find out which blind fool dared to defy our decree and slaughter the humans. If you find one, kill one. Azure Dragon was extremely anxious, hoping they would not provide Ziyu Immortal Emperor with any pretext. That man lacks any semblance of humanity. Vermilion Bird interrupted in a low voice. Let us return to seclusion. The day after tomorrow will not be peaceful. Will we be able to grasp the opportunity to break through to the Heavenly Emperor realm? It is precisely the day after tomorrow. The Phoenix Divine Eye in her gaze had already caught a glimpse of the future. I have seen the future. In the dead of night, I appeared before a waterfall at the edge of the demon continent. The Jade Kunping reacted violently. Finding the child is not to be rushed. First, I must examine this restrictive formation. I circulated the Chaos Divine Eye. Golden chaotic energy began to flow. The mysteries of the formation before me slowly revealed themselves. After about the time it takes to burn an incense stick, I curled my lips into a smile. One truly does not understand the brilliance of such a formation until they study it. My eyes returned to normal. One truly does not understand the brilliance of such a formation until they study it. This formation is not only capable of shielding divine sense, possessing immense defensive power, but it can also absorb spiritual energy within a mile to nourish what lies inside, and can even slow the flow of time. For every 10 days that pass outside, only 5 days pass within. This implies that the child of the Kunpeng Saintess has likely only aged for 500,000 years. The survival rate is much higher than I had imagined. This formation can only be unsealed using the bloodline of the Kunpeng. There is no other way, unless one possesses. I summoned the Xiaoyao Immortal Sword and sliced my fingertip to draw a single drop of immortal blood. Possessing the Kunpeng bloodline, I was able to dismantle this formation. With a single point of my finger, the blood merged into the array. In an instant, a brilliant blue light erupted, and countless complex runes swirled before dissipating into nothingness. I projected my divine sense inside, and I was immediately stunned. There were actually members of the demon clan still alive within. Deep inside the cavern stood a colossal ancient tree, seemingly connecting the heavens and the earth. Beneath its roots, dozens of demon clan members with peculiar appearances were dancing around a bonfire. Some sinking to add to the merriment. Others were roasting meat and drinking wine. There were even children among them. It resembled a celestial paradise. With a flicker of my intent, I manifested directly amidst these demons. A monster, a monkey demon, with a sharp mouth and thin cheeks caught sight of me and shrieked in terror. The atmosphere of joy was shattered instantly. The demons seized their weapons, eyeing me with profound dread. It appeared they had been isolated from the outside world for too long, and had never laid eyes on a human. I swept my gaze across them, rendered speechless. If I am a monster, then what of these creatures with their bizarre forms? My divine sense blanketed the area, yet I could not detect a single trace of Kun. However, the Kunpeng Jade continued to vibrate. There was no mistake. I produced a projection stone and displayed an image of Kun. I spoke in a cold, detached tone. Have any of you seen this creature before? The group of demons fell silent, save for one young demon who spoke innocently. Grandfather clan leader, doesn't this look exactly like the great monster that comes every year to take our blood? Quiet, say no more. An elderly turtle demon with a hunched back barked a stern command. The little demon trembled in fear, and its parents hastily covered its mouth. I turned my gaze toward the elder turtle. Was what it said true? What are you? Get out of here. The moment the old turtle finished speaking, his body was hoisted into the air by an invisible force, his expression contorting in agony. My anger flared, and I forcibly invaded his mind with my divine sense to extract his memories. These demons had been imprisoning a Kunpeng within the ancient tree, shifting from taking its blood daily in the early years to once every 10,000 years now, consuming fragments of the Kunpeng's essence to extend their own lifespans. Die, I commanded coldly. In a heartbeat, every demon present exploded, flesh and blood splattering everywhere. Regardless of age, none were spared. I waved my hand, shattering the ancient tree to reveal a cave beneath. A Kunpeng, thin as a twig and breathing faintly, lay curled inside. I pointed a finger, channeling spiritual energy into its body. Fortunately, I arrived in time, or it would have surely perished. I let out a cold laugh. These demons were not entirely foolish. They knew how to adapt to survive. I gathered the creature into the Kunpeng Jade so that it might be reunited with its mother. Just as I was about to depart, I suddenly sensed something highly unusual deep within the earth. As my divine sense penetrated 67 million meters deep, I discovered an underground palace. Is there actually a hidden paradise here? My figure flickered, arriving instantly at the palace. Surrounding me was boiling lava spanning tens of thousands of miles. The water and fire-resistant spirit robe I wore was more than enough to neutralize this heat. Deep within the inner sanctum lay a bizarre beast in chains. Its head resembled a box, its body a serpent's, with limbs like a killin's and 19 pairs of wings. "What are you?" I asked, filled with suspicion. With the resurgence of heaven and earth, I never expected to awaken. The beast opened its 8 blood-red eyes, fixing its gaze upon me. "I believe I am the last Taoshu in this world. How is it that you have been imprisoned here?" "It is a long story, and I have lost count of how many years have passed. In those days, our Taoshu clan was invincible. Yet we ended up offending a great Tao true monarch. He eradicated the majority of my kin. Only a few fortunate ones managed to escape. I was among them. Unfortunately, I fell into the hands of another. They could not defeat me, so they tricked me here to be sealed. It has been far too long. Had I not sensed the resurgence of the heaven and earth's spiritual energy, I would never have stirred. It is strange that you have not perished, despite having no cultivation base whatsoever," I remarked, assessing it. The Taoshu replied with a hint of arrogance. "Foolish human, the greatest trait of our kind is our longevity. As long as the flame upon our body remains unextinguished, we shall not die." True enough, at the tip of its tail flickered a weak, dying flame. "If you release me, I can submit to your commands. At our peak, our kind can reach the heaven-earth realm. In this world of yours, such a realm is no longer attainable." "That is indeed true. I am the only one," I replied with indifference. The Taoshu was taken aback. "You are at the heaven-earth realm? You currently possess no cultivation base," it muttered. "I cannot discern your depth. I shall release you for you to serve as my servant. This is not a negotiation. Outside these walls, countless humans and beasts yearn to become my servants. Consider yourself fortunate." The beast was left speechless. In the heaven and earth realm, who wouldn't fight to take in such a disciple? Furthermore, I possess a rare treasure called the snaffle. Each beast inherently cultivates its own branch within this artifact. It can assist you in gradually comprehending the great Tao of fire. My own comprehension of the great Tao is still quite shallow. This orb is rather interesting. In a mere second, I had seen through the restrictions placed upon it. With a single flick of my finger, the chains shattered. The beast's cultivation base rapidly recovered, ultimately stabilizing at the true immortal realm. I have finally been freed. The beast looked up and let out a mighty roar, its aura truly staggering. "Submit!" I shouted coldly, unleashing a wave of pressure that instantly forced it to the ground. I pointed my finger repeatedly, imprinting a soul-restricting spell into its spirit. I pay respects to my master. It dared not act arrogantly any longer, bowing in humble submission to the artifact. No sooner had I finished speaking than a thunderous explosion erupted from above. I sense a terrifying aura from right below us. There is undoubtedly a secret treasure hidden here. As they continued to dig, the ceiling collapsed, and a group of humanoid demons descended. This place truly holds a world of its own. I sensed something was amiss the moment we discovered this location. If I hadn't been nearby, how would our sect have known of the treasure hidden here? Enough talk. Let us see what treasures await. Wait, why is there someone here? A demon stared in astonishment at me and the beast. "Who are you? Why are you here?" An elder in green robes stepped forward from the crowd. His pupils had transformed into those of a serpent. "It is the sect master of the Spirit Serpent sect, the Spirit Serpent Venerable. How long have you been here in the heaven-transcending realm?" I spoke with complete composure. The group of demons cried out in unison. "What, is the heaven-transcending realm real? I heard he arrived in the demon lands. Is it truly him?" The Spirit Serpent Venerable sneered. "Young brat, do you think you can deceive me by impersonating the heaven-transcending realm expert? Do not think I am unaware that you possess an artifact to conceal your cultivation. You knew the heaven-transcending realm expert was coming, so you assumed his identity, hoping to scare us away." The other demon clans responded, joining the chorus one after another. "The sect master is right. By this fellow's side is a beast that looks utterly grotesque. It is merely at the true immortal realm. How could the dignified Xiaoyao Heavenly Palace permit such an ugly and weak creature to linger by its side? He is surely an impostor." The taming beast looked aggrieved. "Why must I be dragged into this and have my appearance insulted?" I was speechless. "So that is how it is. Hand over the secret treasure you found, and we might allow you to leave." Saint Lingxi acted as if he held my fate in his hands. "I already told you, yet you refused to believe me." I sighed and flicked my finger. Countless demon clans dissipated into smoke, leaving only Saint Lingxi behind. Saint Lingxi hurriedly knelt, his expression one of utter despair. "Are you truly from the Xiaoyao Heavenly Palace?" "Indeed. I told you as much, yet you would not listen. In these times, even the truth is met with disbelief." "Wait, no, you are a demon, not a human." "Great one, I was disrespectful earlier and have offended you. Please spare my life. I am willing to offer you everything I possess." "Very well. Seeing as you are quick to kneel, I shall entrust you with a task. Take this creature back to your sect and care for it properly." Simply help it increase its cultivation level quickly. I pointed at the taming beast. Having such a true immortal servant at my side was truly a disgrace. That is easy. Leave it to me, Great One. I shall certainly take good care of it. He nodded repeatedly as I planted a seal within him. The taming beast struggled and spat out a fiery orb, cleansed it with spiritual energy, and offered it to me. The moment I grasped the orb, I felt the aura of the great Tao of fire pulsing within it. In an instant, I vanished from the spot, leaving Saint Lingshi dazed and confused. He looked at the taming beast with fawning eyes. Is there anything else you require? The taming beast transformed into a red-haired man and laughed aloud. Take me back to your sect. Yes, of course. May I ask how to address you? Just call me Brother Huo. Understood, Brother Huo. 2 days later, I returned to the Great Mountain. Before I even stepped foot into the mountain gate, the heavens and earth shook. An endless violet aura enveloped the entire Shishen immortal realm. This violet aura was thick with terrifying spiritual power. Merely inhaling it caused my cultivation base to fluctuate. The primordial violet aura, an anomaly that appears in the immortal realm only once every million years. The time has finally arrived. How could I hide my astonishment? This phenomenon is the harbinger of a new era of spiritual energy. An opportunity like this is rare, obtainable only by fate, not by desire. Without hesitation, I soared immediately into the clouds, settling at the epicenter of the primordial energy. As the Kunpeng art was activated, the 4 divine beasts in the sacred land were stirred into a panic. The azure dragon looked up toward the heavens, struck by overwhelming shock. This is the primordial violet qi, appearing once every million years. It is also known as the centennial cycle qi. Even if a mere mortal were to inhale a single breath, they would break through the body-refining stage with absolute certainty. The white tiger exclaimed, "It seems the million-year cycle has arrived. The time for us to break through to the heaven and earth realm has been greatly accelerated." The vermilion bird coldly interrupted, "Say no more. Time is of the essence. Let us absorb the primordial violet qi immediately. Such a treasure will not linger for long. Once the time is up, the primordial violet qi will naturally dissipate." The 4 divine beasts immediately transformed into their true forms. The azure dragon, black tortoise, white tiger, and vermilion bird each occupied a cardinal direction, frenziedly seizing the essence, but they soon sensed an even more terrifying suction force emanating from the direction of Xingzhou. This sensation felt all too familiar. The azure dragon asked in astonishment, "Why does this feeling seem so familiar?" "You fool. That is none other than the Kunpeng art of the Sijiao heaven and earth." The white tiger roared in indignation. "He has combined it with his own Kunpeng constitution. There is no technique in this world that can rival his absorption speed." How vexing. 10,000 years ago, during the battle for the chaotic key, he was also the one who absorbed the most, allowing his chaotic divine eyes to reach perfection, leaving no scrap for the rest of us. It is him again. When will we ever be rid of him? The black tortoise was also speechless, recalling the miserable past when he had 4/5 of his chaotic key stolen by me. The vermilion bird sighed, urging the others to accept their misfortune and make the most of the time to absorb what remained. In the demon province, Tianchong also perceived this tyrannical suction force. This direction, it is from the distant Xingzhou. A myriad of years have passed, and since I broke through to the heaven and earth realm, this suction force has become even more formidable than before. Xingzhou is incredibly far, with the vast Haizhou situated in between. Even at his full speed, it would take him 84 days to reach Xingzhou, and that is traveling for 84 days without pause. How could his suction force reach across such a distance? He prided himself on his unparalleled devouring demon art, yet compared to my ability to plunder essence across the expanse of Haizhou, he remained significantly inferior. It was not just Tianchong. Almost the entire Xuanshen immortal realm sensed the primordial violet qi frantically surging in one direction. It was as if a black hole had manifested in the distance, continuously consuming the primordial violet qi, leaving them unable to compete for even the slightest fraction. Which divine being is this? I beg of you, absorb a little less. Such were the desperate inner cries of countless beings throughout the immortal realm. Within the imperial palace of Xingzhou, Liu Qinghan stood frozen in the sky as the atmosphere coalesced into a deep, violet singularity. Endless strands of primordial purple energy were being drawn into its center. Gazing at the dark violet void above, she exclaimed in astonishment, "This phenomenon, it must be Brother Xiaoyao." She stared blankly at the white-robed figure silhouetted against the abyss, her eyes shimmering like peach blossoms. Brother Xiaoyao has grown even more handsome, and his power has surpassed his former self. At that moment, a colossal kunpeng, capable of obscuring the heavens and covering the earth, manifested behind my back. As the kunpeng emerged, countless people across Xingzhou were struck with awe. Is this the Xiaoyao heaven and earth? I recall his celestial manifestation being the kunpeng. It is said that both his cultivation techniques and his physical constitution are deeply rooted in the essence of the kunpeng. No mistake. This is the Xiaoyao heaven and earth. No one else possesses such overwhelming authority. Everyone quickly absorbed the primordial purple energy. Xiaoyao has drawn the primordial energy of the immortal realm here. It is far purer than anywhere else. I have already achieved 5 consecutive breakthroughs in my minor realms. I believe that today I might even reach the quasi-saint level. We must thank the immortal Emperor Xiaoyao. To obtain even a sliver of primordial energy from his hand is a blessing beyond measure for all of us. Countless cultivators in Jingzhou seized the opportunity presented by my absorption of the pure energy to make frenzied breakthroughs, feeling immense gratitude toward me. To maximize my gains, I projected an avatar, simultaneously manifesting the Kunpeng Jade and unleashing the dual layers of the Kunpeng art. As expected of Brother Xiaoyao to conceive such a method, it is truly remarkable. I must follow his lead. Filled with admiration, Liu Qinghan immediately set about imitating my technique to create her own avatar. Together with the rapid harvesting from the Kunpeng Jade, the spiritual energy within my body surged like a churning sea. The bottleneck of the intermediate heaven and earth stage, held back by the suppression of the world's laws, finally began to waver as that pressure dissipated. I am determined to reach the perfection of heaven and earth, and perhaps even transcend its limits. I want those of the Kunpeng clan who look down upon my human bloodline to bear witness. Even without what they call the Kunpeng heaven-swallowing divine body, I, Li Xiaoyao, can still hold up the heavens single-handedly. I have not forgotten the humiliation inflicted upon me by that patriarch. How can a mere divine body determine the trajectory of my future? With a thunderous roar that shook the firmament for 10,000 miles, I unleashed my terrifying aura. The spiritual barrier within my dantian shattered in an instant. Just as I ascended toward a higher realm, the heavenly tribulation, which had long since vanished, suddenly coalesced within the churning black clouds. The oppressive force radiating from it was far. Why would such a small breakthrough trigger a celestial lightning tribulation of this magnitude? I gazed toward the heavens, my brow furrowed. I am merely ascending to the late stage of the heaven-earth realm. Why would the heavenly Tao descend with such a trial? Heavenly Tao, are you truly intent on obstructing my path? I spoke, my voice low and resonant. My words echoed throughout the Xingzhou region, the pressure leaving the onlookers struggling to draw breath. In my past life, I feared the heavenly tribulation. But now that I have awakened the memories of my previous incarnation, my strength has increased manifold. If the heavenly Tao wishes to obstruct me, I shall meet it head-on until the very end. It is not I. It is the laws of heaven and earth. The voice of the heavenly Tao resonated within my mind, causing me to pause in astonishment. The laws of heaven and earth are the primordial rules governing this world, existing even above the will of the heavenly Tao itself. Looking across the profound divine immortal realm, these laws have long since loosened. Why would they target me at such a moment? Suddenly, I felt the Kunpeng Jade pendant resting against my chest begin to vibrate. The jade, once deep emerald, was now shimmering like the stars in the night sky. This pendant was originally the innate heavenly Tao Saint artifact, belonging to the Kunpeng goddess. It had absorbed a vast amount of primordial purple qi, and was on the verge of evolving into chaos immortal qi. The lightning tribulation roared within the clouds. The laws of heaven and earth would not permit the manifestation of chaos immortal qi, and sought to eradicate it. Clutching my 3-foot-long blade, my white robes whipping violently in the gale, I stared directly into the heavens. Proceed with caution. This tribulation possesses the same intensity as the one you will face when breaking through to the heaven-earth realm. The heavenly Tao transmitted once more. I remained entirely devoid of fear. Seeing a bolt of lightning strike toward the Kunpeng Jade, I swung my arm in a sharp arc. A surge of unrestrained sword chi instantly shattered the lightning bolt. Kunpeng heaven-severing strike, I bellowed. Invoking the great divine ability of the immortals, the roar of a Kunpeng echoed through the void, shaking the 8 desolate lands. A colossal phantom, vast enough to blot out the sun and earth, manifested in the sky. The immense Dharma idol looming behind me raised its immortal sword, striking directly into the heart of the lightning pool. As the blade descended into the clouds, the shockwave of spiritual energy rippled across the entirety of Xingzhou. Countless cultivators trembled beneath this celestial might, their hearts overcome by an instinctual urge to submit. Brother Xiaoyao, stay strong. From a distance, Liu Qinghan clenched her fists, her eyes filled with trepidation. I tightened my grip on the immortal sword, feeling the violent resistance of the lightning tribulation. I swung my blade once more, channeling my spiritual energy until my Dharma idol shone with a blinding brilliance. With a deafening roar, I cleaved the lightning tribulation in two. The resulting explosion of wild spiritual energy left Liu Qinghan's face pale with terror. Hurriedly forming hand seals, I channeled my spirit energy into the formation sphere to manifest a black tortoise. It withstood a surge of spiritual power sufficient to shatter half of this formation. As the spiritual energy dissipated, I had long since vanished from the spot. Deep within the great mountains, the Kunpeng goddess and Zhen Yuantian both sensed the heaven-shaking commotion outside. Zhen Yuantian's expression turned joyous. This primordial purple energy is truly extraordinary, as I have broken through to the mid-stage of the immortal emperor realm. How is he? Is he still well? The goddess's voice trembled slightly. I waved my sleeve and released the unconscious Xiao Kun. Seeing her son emaciated, the goddess let out a cry of sorrow. What exactly has happened here? Zhen Yuantian asked in confusion. I recounted the atrocities committed by the demon race within the cavern. Upon learning that the enemy had been eradicated, the goddess could only release a heavy sigh. Thank you. Think nothing of it. Where is the Kunpeng divine wing? Why do I not see it? I asked, knitting my brows. No sooner had I finished speaking than golden light erupted from Xiao Kun's unconscious body, and a pair of magnificent wings flew out, landing before me. I have always hidden it within my son's body. Now I shall bestow it upon you. This is the supreme secret treasure of the Kunpeng clan. It is said to possess 3 divine abilities. The first is Kunpeng transcending heaven, where as long as your heart has a destination, and your eyes can behold it, you can arrive instantly, regardless of the distance. The second is the spatial slash, which kills invisibly. The third is Kunpeng protection, where the wings fold to withstand a strike from the heaven and earth realm. I fused the divine wings into my body, and with a slight shift of my intent, a pair of brilliant wings manifested behind me. I attempted to fix my coordinates on the cavern where I had previously found Xiao Kun. In the blink of an eye, I traversed 1,000,000 miles, appearing within the empty cave. To test my limits, I moved continuously between the great mountains and various regions across the immortal realm. I made no attempt to conceal my aura. This allowed me to traverse the majority of the immortal realm within a single thought. Within the sacred land of divine beasts, the 4 immortal emperors were driven to the brink of madness by this flickering, elusive aura. The azure dragon asked with a tremble, "Did you all sense that just now?" Indeed, it is his aura. He has come again. Shenwu retracted his neck in fear. I vanished. They breathed a sigh of relief. A second later, I reappeared. They were once again drenched in cold sweat from terror. After repeating this dozens of times, Baihu finally collapsed and screamed. What exactly is this person trying to do? If you want to kill us, just strike us down. It seems you only wish to torment us. Having confirmed the capabilities of the divine wings, I returned to the mountain gate. By this time, the Kunpeng Jade had undergone a complete transformation. Not only was the immortal energy denser, but it could also spontaneously generate 100 wisps of primordial violet chi every hour. The great mountain shook once more. This time, the entire Xuanshen immortal world was trembling. Spiritual energy is recovering. The cycle of 1,000,000 years has arrived. The immortal world will return to the era of the ancient sun. The voice of the heavenly Tao echoed throughout the realm. The era of the 10 suns has arrived. The ancient clans that have been slumbering are about to awaken. I saw the earth of the continent crack open, and from the depths rose a strange phenomenon. The concentration of spiritual energy increased 100-fold in a mere moment. A true era of peak chaos has arrived. Li Lan, the immortal world has undergone a transformation. Within a few days, the heaven-reaching ancient clans will return one after another. Heaven and earth no longer restrict the heaven and earth realm. You may now ascend to higher levels of cultivation. Next, you must seek out the 5 supreme treasures. I entrusted Chen Ling with guarding the great mountain. Leaving behind countless resources, I then vanished to a place 1,000,000 miles away. I saw Lu Qinghan. She stared at me blankly, her eyes filled with deep infatuation. I stood before her and smiled faintly. Lu Qinghan, you are still as beautiful as ever, brother Si Jiao. I have told you before, you may call me Qinghan or Sister Qinghan. That way we shall not seem so distant. Her eyes sparkled like peach blossoms as she courageously asked, "May I embrace you?" A wave of fragrance washed over me as she clung tightly to my waist, sobbing, "Do you know? Upon hearing news of your death all those years ago, I wept for years, washing my face with tears every single day. Why did you not tell me that you were still alive?" Hearing the cries of this beauty, I sighed inwardly. Lu Qinghan, ranked 5th on the Celestial Consort Board, was truly heart-stirring. I immediately employed the techniques of the Taihua Immortal Emperor, placing my gaze upon her shoulders with profound affection, and said, "At that time, I was gravely wounded and required 10,000 years of seclusion to recover. You know, the person I cherish most has always been you, little sister Qinghan. Had I not been so severely injured, I would have sought you out without delay." Qinghan, how could you not understand my heart? Looking into my sincere gaze, Lu Qinghan's heart melted. "Brother Xiao Du, forgive me. I have wronged you. So that is how it was. Please forgive me." I curled my lips slightly, my tone growing even more tender. "It is of no consequence, as long as little sister Qinghan understands me. It has been so long since we last met. Let us find a secluded place to converse through the night." Lu Qinghan nodded sweetly. She had waited far too long for this day. As the warm sun shone down, I opened my eyes. Lu Qinghan was sleeping soundly in my arms. Perhaps it was the long separation, but she had been exceptionally passionate, engaging in battle with me for an entire day and night without rest. I moved to the side of the bed, donned a white robe, and casually left behind a storage ring. The resources within were sufficient to aid her in reaching the perfection of the Immortal Emperor realm. To me, these resources no longer held much value, and it is my principle to provide compensation after taking what I desire. After plucking the flower, I would never act as a guest who refuses to pay. I moved with haste, and in the blink of an eye, I arrived above the skies of Leizhou. I unfurled the scroll in my hand, my gaze locked onto a region near Leizhou that I had never set foot in. It was a forbidden territory that had existed since the ancient imperial tomb era. I had never heard of this place. Could it be the burial ground of an ancient emperor? With a flick of my thoughts, I traversed the void to the outer edge. My divine sense swept across. The area was as vast as two provinces combined, and though many cultivators had swarmed in, there was no sign of those resurrected from the ancient era. It appeared that they had not yet fully awakened. 5 days later, I returned to the imperial tomb. This place has changed significantly. The cultivators of Leizhou are now constructing streets and dwellings, and have even established sects within its borders. This is simply because the spiritual energy here far surpasses the outside world, and precious heavenly treasures frequently manifest here. As I strolled through the streets, I marveled at the rapid pace at which these later generations have developed. Suddenly, the heavens and earth changed color. A terrifying black mist surged from the ground, piercing through the azure clouds. Thunder rumbled across the horizon as a colossal, ferocious demon face materialized within the cloud layer, its blood-red eyes gazing down upon all living beings. The aura it exuded was truly horrifying. Is this the aura of a great emperor? As early as 3 days ago, I had already sensed that the malevolent entities of this place were on the verge of resurrection. The terror of the ancient era is about to be reborn. High in the air, the demon face opened its mouth and spoke. I am the sect master of the soul refining sect. You may address me as the soul refining great emperor. The soul refining sect has been resurrected in Xuanzhong, and we shall open our sect gates tomorrow to recruit disciples extensively. Those who specialize in soul refining techniques shall enjoy infinite longevity. Upon hearing this name, I offered a cold inward smile. Not long ago I eradicated one soul refining sect, and now an ancestor has emerged. How interesting. The people around me were excitedly discussing the apprenticeship ceremony for tomorrow, but no one noticed that I had vanished into the crowd. The soul refining sect. Within the sect master's palace, a man with black hair and blood-red robes sat upright on the main throne, his body wreathed in ghostly energy. Before him stood 4 elders at the Saint King realm. Such strength would be more than enough to establish a sect in the outside world. Elders, now that we have been resurrected, what are your intentions? The soul-refining great emperor spoke calmly. The first elder replied in a deep voice. Sect master, I believe the most urgent task is to gather souls. After tens of thousands of years, the residual souls in my soul banner have all starved to death. The second elder gave a cold laugh. Indeed, recruiting disciples to lure them in for slaughter is fine, but the yield is too small. I propose we take the initiative and slaughter indiscriminately. We should massacre a city or two. The third and fourth elders nodded in agreement. They were convinced that in this era, where spiritual energy had only just begun to recover, their Saint King level strength was enough to sweep across everything. Your suggestions are not bad at all. The soul-refining great emperor nodded. After we recruit the disciples tomorrow, you shall scout the strength of the outside world. If the general power level is found to be inferior, then we may proceed with the city slaughtering plan. Scarcely had the words been spoken when Elder Lu stumbled into the main hall, collapsing to the floor. Sectmaster, it is a disaster. A great emperor has arrived outside. The fifth elder is dead. 10 breaths ago, I flickered into existence at the gates of the soul-refining sect. 2 old men who were tidying the sect grounds looked up at me. One of them frowned and said, the recruitment of disciples begins tomorrow. You have arrived too early. I have not come to be a disciple, I replied. I have come to borrow your scripture library for a brief study. I offered a faint smile and walked straight inside. You impudent whelp. This is the soul-refining sect. How could we allow you to come and go as you please? The fifth elder roared in anger, manifesting a silver-white longsword, his eyes filled with killing intent. Die, I said, my voice calm. An invisible pressure, heavy as Mount Tai, descended. The fifth elder, a Saint King realm expert, was instantly pulverized into a mist of blood and bone. Was so terrified his legs gave out, but I could not be bothered to even glance at him. Walking straight into the scripture library, I unleashed my full divine sense, absorbing the contents of every ancient manual and technique in a mere 3 breaths. It was at this very moment that several violent auras surged from behind me. Audacious brat, daring to trespass into the soul-refining sect. Do you truly think the great emperor here is someone to be trifled with? I have lived for 700,000 years, long before you were even born. The furious roar of the soul-refining great emperor echoed across the sky. A colossal ghost face manifested once more, unleashing waves of boundless killing intent. I rose into the air, confronting those 6 figures amidst the clouds. Looking at that great emperor, I offered a chilling, mocking smile. A great emperor of the eternal era, you say? Let me see what skills this old man of 700,000 years truly possesses. Arrogant brat. You know nothing of the vastness of the heavens and the earth. You possess no respect for your elders, trespassing into my soul-refining sect, and still you dare to be this insolent. Activate the soul absorption grand formation and execute him. The soul-refining great emperor commanded in a rage, and the 5 elders immediately formed a pincer formation, chanting soul absorption grand formation, activate. 5 pillars of ghostly energy surged straight into the heavens. Cryptic runes intertwined to form the array. This formation is specifically designed to target the soul. Under normal circumstances, when cast by 6 people, it is capable of slaying a great emperor. Even with 1 person missing, it remains powerful enough to grievously wound one. Standing within the formation, I felt the surge of power tearing at my soul. Not only did I feel no pain, but it actually felt as though I were receiving a head massage, a much-needed relief for my fatigue. I resolutely closed my eyes, studying the intricacies of this formation while experiencing its influence. Yet in their eyes, I was nothing more than a turtle trapped in a jar. Ignorant brat, you are now a lamb waiting for the slaughter. Once the soul-absorbing grand formation is fully activated, your death is certain. The great elder roared. Everyone, he is a great emperor, we must give it our all. We cannot allow him a single chance to survive. The second elder shouted coldly. All 5 of them spat a mouthful of blood essence into the formation, causing its power to skyrocket instantly. But no matter how desperate they were, my soul remained as immovable as Mount Tai. Is that all you are capable of? I opened my eyes, speaking with a hint of disappointment. In that case, it is time for this farce to end. Not bad. I am finally starting to feel something. I savored the sensation at the crown of my head. This expression of disappointment sent the soul-refining great emperor into a fit of rage. He pressed his fingers together, channeling every ounce of his ghost energy into the formation. Little brat. The vibrations within my soul were finally becoming more distinct, yet I could only heave a sigh. Is it over so soon? I haven't enjoyed it enough yet. Ignorant brat, how are you still alive? The soul-refining great emperor was struck with utter terror. Break, I uttered calmly, and the soul-absorbing grand formation shattered at my command. The 5 elders were sent flying back like kites, with severed strings, instantly suffering heavy injuries. The soul-refining great emperor retreated hundreds of steps, his eyes filled with shock. What realm have you truly reached? How could you possibly shatter the soul-absorbing grand formation of my soul-refining sect? You are definitely not a great emperor. I hovered in mid-air, speaking with indifference. I never claimed to be a great emperor. You are merely a celestial emperor. He cried out in terror. I am the immortal Emperor Xiao Yao. It is time for you to close your eyes for the last time. The Xiao Yao immortal sword pierced through the void, its terrifying emperor's might locking the entire sect in place, driving the soul-refining great emperor into a state of pure madness. And what if you are an immortal emperor? Think you can kill me? He sacrificed the myriad billion soul banner, and countless vengeful spirits wailed as they surged toward me. I pressed my sword down slightly, and a massive spectral blade descended like a final judgment, thundering toward the earth. No matter how numerous the vengeful spirits were, they were utterly obliterated beneath the power of the immortal sword. Watching the sword tip obscure sky and shroud the earth, the soul-refining great emperor shrieked in despair. Heaven itself wishes to exterminate my soul-refining sect. Following a series of miserable screams, the immortal sword fell, annihilating everything belonging to the soul-refining sect. A formidable sect that had endured since the ancient era was extinguished just like that. But before that, I had already plundered every treasure within their library. The commotion caused by the destruction of the soul-refining sect was world-shaking, yet the pressure was so immense that outsiders could not even dare to lift their heads to glimpse the truth. It was not until I withdrew my aura that the people were finally able to move again. What has happened to the soul-refining sect? Why has it suddenly gone silent? Could the lightning immortal emperor have destroyed it? But it could not possibly be the lightning immortal emperor, could it? The aura from just moments ago, while calm, contained a terrifying murderous intent. It is completely different from the lightning immortal emperor. People flocked one after another to the soul-refining sect to investigate, while I, the true culprit, was already sitting in an inn in Leizhou, ordering a table full of local delicacies. The emperor's grave, as I had suspected, truly serves as the final resting place for a genuine emperor. I flipped through the ancient text I had just acquired, and my brow furrowed slightly. The soul-refining sect was merely a weaker faction within the emperor's grave. The true powerhouses are the Fentian, Baiyu, and the 3 sect masters, all of whom possess the cultivation of the heavenly emperor realm. As for the core of this emperor's grave, it is rumored that the casket containing the emperor's remains surpasses the heavenly emperor realm, yet to this day no one knows its exact location. The heavenly Tao gave me a map, telling me to find it myself. It undoubtedly knows where the remains are hidden. I sent a voice transmission to the heavenly Tao but received no reply. It seems I must rely on myself alone to uncover this buried truth. 5 days later, I arrived at the Myriad Demon Mountain in Yaozhou, which is also an ancient ruin. As soon as I entered, I discovered that the inn was completely devoid of people, with food still steaming on the tables. A monkey-faced waiter rushed out from the kitchen in a panic. I opened my mouth to ask, "Why is it so deserted here? Has the Demon Emperor's secret realm already opened?" Do you not know why that monkey-faced waiter fled without even looking back? As I arrived at the Demon Emperor's secret realm, I unleashed my divine sense. I immediately locked onto the massive spatial tunnel, where countless members of the Demon Clan were gathering. The inheritance of the Heavenly Emperor lies within this Demon Clan secret realm. Hurry inside. Yankwai, this time the secret realm is restricted to the Demon Clan, and those below the Great Emperor realm. If one obtains the inheritance, they will surely become invincible under the heavens. Upon reaching the entrance of the tunnel, I was blocked by an invisible barrier of the Heavenly Emperor level. Watching the human cultivators shake their heads and leave one by one, I decided to test it myself. Fellow Taoists, stop looking. If you are not of the Demon Clan, you cannot enter. A human cultivator advised me with a sigh. I appreciate your concern, but I intend to try regardless. I smiled indifferently and pressed two fingers together, using my hand as a sword. The space slash, the second divine ability of the Kunpeng divine intent, instantly tore through the void. I stepped into that deep, jagged fissure. In the moment the crack sealed shut, I heard only the startled cry of the cultivator from before. Passing through the void, I descended into an entirely new world. I am the Demon Heavenly Emperor, the Eternal Demon Sovereign. You have arrived at my inheritance secret realm, so let the trials begin. The inheritance is right here. Whether you can find it or not depends entirely on your destiny. That majestic voice echoed across the sky, but immediately afterward, a strange feminine voice resonated within my mind, causing my spirit to tremble with unease. You have finally come to find me, my true self. Within my sea of consciousness, images of a lotus pond, immortal bones, and a green lotus emerged. Only I could hear this voice. Could this place truly be connected to my past? At the same time, deep within a volcanic crater in the secret realm, a coffin wrapped in crimson chains trembled slightly. A man emerged from the magma, his eyes dark and chillingly cold. It has been millions of years. Why are you moving again? Could it be that he has returned? He swept his gaze over the gathered crowd of demon beasts above and spoke in a cold voice. Go, capture all the Demon Clan members outside. Those who submit shall be spared. Those who do not shall be executed. As you command, Demon Sovereign. The man stared intently at the coffin and muttered to himself, I will not let him get close to you again, even if it is his descendant. At this moment, I was traversing a region of sudden ice and snow. Ahead, several disciples of the Guiyao sect were charging toward a cavern, standing guard in place. The leader was a great Luo golden immortal. I followed behind. It was not until they had ventured deep into the labyrinthine caverns that the group of demon clansmen suddenly spun around. You have been trailing us for quite some time now, haven't you? Get out. I glanced at these shape-shifted demons and let out a cold laugh. This place belongs to you? Tell me, why should I not be allowed to enter? Your strength is pathetic. It is only because of us that you managed to get this far. Be gone at once. Let it be known that our master is a saint. If you do not wish to perish, leave while you still can. It seems you are all part of a group. That is fortunate, as I have been craving some tonic turtle soup. I heard that you turtle demons are exceptionally nourishing, and I just happen to be feeling a bit fatigued. With a roar of arrogance, one of the turtle demons drew his sword and thrust it toward my throat. I watched the blade stop inches from my eyes, and with a single gentle breath, that Daluo golden immortal was reduced to green smoke, vanishing without a trace. Impossible. The remaining turtle demons were seized with terror and fell to their knees in unison. Saint King, please forgive us. We were blind to your greatness. We failed to recognize Mount Tai. We beg you to spare our lives. I have already stated my intent to have a bowl of soup. With a casual wave of my hand, a bronze cauldron as large as a mountain crashed to the ground. I tossed the pleading turtle demons into the vessel, solidified my internal energy into water, and conjured a flame at my fingertips to maintain the heat. Ah, that is right. How can one cook turtle soup without water? Ignoring the wails rising from within the cauldron, I pressed further into the cave to investigate. Before a massive stone door, I shattered the restrictive array with a touch of 4 fingers. The moment it opened, a terrifying frigid aura erupted, flash freezing everything in its path. This cold is truly formidable. This great Tao of ice is quite impressive. In the center of the cavern, a long sword forged entirely of ice hovered, radiating the oppressive pressure of a heavenly saint weapon. Who goes there? Identify yourself. This is the territory of the Tiger Clan. What are you staring at? Your Tiger Clan resides beneath your feet? I looked down only to find a small, adorable, blue-furred cat. I lifted it by the scruff of its neck and teased. What manner of demon beast are you? I am a noble ice flame tiger, a creature that only existed in the primeval era. Its coarse, tiger-like voice clashed jarringly with its diminutive appearance. I released a mere sliver of my aura. The little cat instantly stiffened, its wide eyes filled with absolute dread. You are a heavenly emperor. I will tell you everything I know. Where is this place? And what treasures lie within? It obediently confessed. This is the inheritance site of the ancient Snow Emperor, and I am the guardian mount sealed within this place. Great Heavenly Emperor, may I follow you? The ice flame tiger gazed at me with a pitiful expression. I decided to observe its behavior for a moment before retracting my ice blade. The ice flame tiger, now brimming with excitement, led me through several stone gates. As it rank of how the great calamity had been unpredictable, noting that it was only because the Chitian Pavilion had alerted the world that we managed to avoid it. Countless lives were lost during that great calamity. That Chitian Pavilion, a nest of cunning foxes who trade information for profit, had actually existed since the ancient era. I swung my sword, shattering the final stone gate. In an instant, light and shadow flickered before us, and both the ice flame tiger and I were pulled into a conceptual illusion. This was the domain of Wuji. Those who can break through it shall receive the legacy of Wuji. Are you willing to accept the challenge? Begin, I replied indifferently. Amidst the swirling snow, countless, giant figures of white ice, each at the great emperor realm, rose from the ground. Yet in my eyes, they were nothing more than a single sword stroke away from destruction. I raised my blade, unleashing a sword aura that spanned 10,000 miles, reducing every obstacle to nothing but dust. Upon reaching the peak of the snowy mountain, I discovered a solitary skeleton buried under a shroud of white snow. Congratulations on completing the inheritance. This journey must have been arduous, must it not? The voice sighed with emotion, but as I looked at the ruins behind me, my heart remained undisturbed. It was hardly arduous, it was merely a single strike. The illusion dissipated, and the remains turned to dust, leaving only a storage ring in their place. This ring contains everything I acquired throughout my life. My cultivation manuals and magical treasures are all within. I trust that you will carry on my legacy. Furthermore, I have left a small spirit beast for you. It is an ice flame tiger in its infancy. Bring it before me, and I shall allow it to undergo a rebirth and reach its adult form. Following the dissipation of the Snow Emperor's final consciousness, a fierce tiger's roar pierced the heavens. I turned to look, only to see that the cute little cub had transformed into a massive beast. Its entire body was wreathed in pure crystalline blue flames. The ferocious gaze of the beast met my eyes, and in a moment softened into a look of gentleness. It approached to curry favor, nuzzling against my palm. My new master, I have successfully completed the awakening of my bloodline. My cultivation has reached the Saint Realm. I felt the surging chill within its body and, in one smooth motion, patted its enormous head. Not bad, lie down so I may mount you. The ice flame tiger obediently lowered its body. I sat upon its back and commanded it to stride boldly out of the cave. Outside the cave, a multitude of demon clans had already gathered, and they stared intently at this exotic beast, the greed in their eyes nearly manifesting into something tangible. I had originally thought a mount at the Saint Realm would make them realize the difficulty and retreat, but it was clear I had underestimated the desperation of these demon kind. A demon man with a ferocious face blocked my path, cunningly sizing me up. Fellow Taoist, are there any treasures inside? Sitting atop the tiger, I looked down at him indifferently. There were many treasures, heavenly saint artifacts, immortal treasures, and various resources, but I have already claimed them all. There is nothing left for you inside. The moment these words were spoken, the surrounding air suddenly stagnated. They had likely never encountered someone so arrogant, yet so honest. After a moment of astonishment, their greed erupted completely. Boy with so many treasures, can you even swallow them all? How about you give me one, and I shall protect you as you leave. I only need to take 2 items, and I will ensure you make it out of here. Facing these ants who thought too highly of themselves, I let out a cold laugh. Why should I allow you low-level beings to leave here alive? The demon clans were enraged, and tens of thousands of them formed a wall of iron. From human immortals to saint kings, there were tens of thousands of demon kin gathered there. Do you think you can win against all of us? Charge. Kill him. Split the treasures equally. Their roars shook the heavens as countless figures charged forward like madmen. I patted the ice flame tiger's head, my tone calm. Leave it to you. Slay them all. Rest assured, master. The ice flame tiger let out a thunderous roar, and a fan of chick. In a mere heartbeat, it froze the front line of the demon clan into statues of ice. It then slammed its massive claws into the ground. Accompanied by violent tremors, those ice statues shattered into fragments. Their souls were utterly extinguished. This beast is a saint-level entity. Flee at once. The howling horde of demons suddenly disintegrated, scattering in a desperate bid for survival. Regrettably, attempting to flee before a saint is an exercise in futility. The frost flame tiger descended like a god of slaughter. It transformed into a blue blur, leaving a path of barren desolation in its wake. In less than 100 breaths, 10,000 demons were annihilated. Master, how did I fare? It came to a halt, eager and expectant of a reward. I stroked its ears, which were glowing crimson from the bloodlust, and said with a smile, "Well done, let us depart and seek out another location." As you wish. The frost flame tiger stepped upon the void, swiftly carrying me away from the collapsing melting snow mountain. As we soared through the air, it took the initiative to explain the origins of this secret realm. Master, this is the place of inheritance left by the Demon Emperor. He possessed 5 loyal subordinates: the Flame Emperor, the Snow Emperor, the Wood Emperor, the Rock Emperor, and the Gold Emperor. They were demons manifested from the essence of the 5 elements, each mastering a fundamental great Tao. You have already obtained the inheritance of the Snow Emperor, and your path in the great Tao of water shall surely reach great heights. Furthermore, the Demon Emperor bestowed upon them the 5 elements sacred artifacts. Once these 5 sacred artifacts are united, they will merge into the primordial chaos immortal chi. The azure ice-cold sacred sword that you just acquired is one of them. I caressed the hilt of the ice-cold sacred sword, a plan already forming in my mind. Chaos Ortal Key. It seems this trip was well worth the effort. Tell me, do you know the location of the inheritance sites for the other 4? I am only aware of the Wood Emperor's location. He perished before the Snow Emperor. He and the Snow Emperor were old friends. The Snow Emperor and I guarded the inheritance site for a very long time. Very well, take me there. We shall head west. A short while later, a forest brimming with vitality yet teeming with murderous intent appeared before us. As we approached, several thick vines lashed out at us like whips. The frost flame tiger let out a cry of pain. I had forgotten. Within the Wood Emperor's inheritance, the entire forest is alive. They will actively attack any intruders, especially those hovering above like us. I look down coldly at the sea of shifting trees below. Then I shall eradicate them all. Should I take flight? With a casual flick, I cast the glacial holy sword. I felt my power surge as the blade descended like a meteor toward the earth. The absolute zero frost instantly sealed 10,000 lives in their tracks. The cacophony within a 100-mile radius fell into absolute silence. I snapped my fingers, and the entire forest, along with the demon beasts within, shattered into shards of ice. The ice flame tiger standing beside me trembled, likely having never witnessed a heavenly emperor with such overwhelming killing intent. I locked my divine sense onto the only surviving great tree in the center of the forest and descended with the ice flame tiger before it. This was the towering tree that manifested after the Wood Emperor's passing. As long as this tree remains standing, this place will return to its former state before long. Does the inheritance reside within this tree? I asked. Logically speaking, we should have completed the inheritance. I waited for a moment, but the great tree remained motionless. I could not help but sneer. It seemed it had no intention of handing it over. I unleashed a 10,000-foot sword aura, cleaving the great tree in two, and commanded, "Surrender the inheritance, or I shall burn you to ash." Netherworldly flames ignited at the tips of my fingers. I threatened coldly, "To think a youth as bold as you would arrive here, and even manage to bypass the Demon Emperor's forbidden arrays to enter this realm." A gentle remnant soul emerged from the fractured trunk inside. However, my inheritance has already been stolen. My eyes flashed. The Flame Emperor? The Flame Emperor? I glanced at the ice flame tiger, filled with suspicion. Its eyes widened in shock as it asked, "Lord Wood Emperor, why would the Flame Emperor steal your inheritance?" "After you and the Snow Emperor entered your slumber, the Flame Emperor did not fall into rest. He stole my inheritance. You know well that I was no match for him. The Flame Emperor has lost his mind. He has fallen in love with our master." "The Flame Emperor has fallen in love with the Demon Empress." The ice flame tiger cried out in horror. "The Flame Emperor of the Five Elements essence has fallen in love with his own master, the Eternal Demon Empress? This is absurd. Indeed, he is mad. That was the very day he plundered my inheritance. I only just learned that he intends to seize all the other 5 elements sacred artifacts, to fuse them into the primordial immortal essence. He seeks to dominate the heavens and become a heavenly emperor, hoping to reach a realm of power equal to that of the Demon Empress. He believed that by doing so he could finally cast off his status as a servant to the Demon Emperor. The ice flame tiger remained speechless. Perhaps it was unaware that the Demon Emperor had long held a beloved in his heart, and remained unmarried to this day. I spoke calmly, stating that we would seek the remaining inheritance. If the inheritance here has already been lost, there is no purpose in remaining. I mounted my beast, and in the blink of an eye, we vanished. Within the peak of weapons, countless magical artifacts soared through the skies, pursued frantically by the demon clans. Yet because the artifacts possessed their own sentience, they yielded to no one. "Master, this is the place of the Golden Emperor's inheritance. These magical artifacts were all forged by him. He was a truly peerless master of artifact refinement. Within the 5-element star origin, the Wood Emperor was a master of alchemy, the Flame Emperor a master of talismans, and the Snow Emperor a master of formations. As for the Yan Emperor, he was proficient in everything, yet master of none." I stepped forward slowly. With each stride, the countless artifacts in the sky fell silent and hovered, circling me with joy like pets welcoming their master. With a casual stroke and a wave of my hand, I gathered every last artifact into my sleeve. This spectacle left the demon clans trailing behind in utter shock. "Hey, you have gone too far. You have taken all the artifacts. What are we supposed to have?" A fish demon stepped forward, seething with resentment, to demand an answer. The surrounding demons swarmed forward in support, shouting, "Get out of here!" The ice flame tiger unleashed a thunderous roar, its saintly aura forcing the majority of the demons to recoil. Only a few demons at the saint level, despite their flickering auras, dared to stand their ground. The lead lion demon spoke coldly, "Hand over half of the artifacts, and we shall not pursue this matter further." Sigh. You demonkind truly have no brains. If it is what you desire, then take them. I flicked my sleeve carelessly. Countless artifacts shot forth like streaks of light, and the scene instantly transformed into a slaughterhouse. Screams filled the air as the artifacts carved through the bloody mist, in a single instant claiming the lives of thousands of demons and those few saint-level demon lords. I stepped over mountains of corpses and seas of blood, arriving at the final site of the inheritance. Embedded in a massive boulder stood a shimmering golden spear. That was the Heavenly Tao saintly artifact, the wind-breaking golden spear. Master, this is the life-bound artifact of the Golden Emperor. The wind-breaking golden spear is said to be capable of piercing all things. One only needs to draw it to inherit the legacy of the Golden Emperor. I gripped the spear firmly, and my vision immediately plunged into an illusion of a golden palace. I am the Golden Iron Emperor, manifested from the Metal Spirit Star origin. If you wish to obtain my legacy, you must comprehend the essence of my artifact forging within 3 hours, and create a treasure of Earth tier or higher to pass this trial. You may manifest whatever materials you require to forge it. This is an illusionary realm. The golden text before my eyes transformed into a manual of artifact forging. I scanned it briefly, condensed my spiritual energy into a golden awl, and forged an Earth-tier treasure half an hour before the time limit. To me, artifact forging is not my primary specialty, yet it is a trivial matter that requires little more than a flick of the hand. Congratulations, you have overcome the trial of my legacy. My legacy is now entrusted to you. I withdrew my golden spear. The tip of the spear swept across the heavens, leaving behind a profound rift in space. Another heaven-grade sacred artifact. Moving on to the next trial, the land of scattered flowers and golden skies. I rode the ice flame tiger, charging headlong into a desert cyclone. The gravitational force of the planet instantly inverted. This region had already attracted a considerable number of demon clans. I sensed the presence of a legacy atop a great mountain, but it was sealed by a barrier that could not be breached. With a simple shift of my intent, a colossal golden foot descended from the clouds. What is this aura? Is this the aura of a saint sovereign? No, that is not right. It appears to belong to a great emperor. I have once sensed this from a great emperor before. I shattered the mountain with a single punch. Daring to disturb the mountain god, it shall surely face my retribution. If you can defeat me, my legacy shall belong to you. The towering mountain god roared and lunged forward. I formed a sword with 2 fingers and struck coldly. With one simple decisive blow, my sword chi instantly severed its mountain heart. The massive entity collapsed with a thunderous crash. You have completed my trial. It is now yours. I retrieved the mountain earth ring that flew toward me, patted the tiger's head, and proceeded to the next trial. Deep within the volcanic burning sea, a giant coffin suspended above the lava began to tremble once more. The Flame Emperor emerged from the molten flow, his cold gaze fixed upon the demon beasts hovering above. Protect this place. Regardless of whether it is man or demon, show no mercy to any who enter. He had guarded the Demon Emperor for hundreds of thousands of years, yearning to slay the one who haunted the Demon Emperor's dreams, to prove that he alone was the superior being. Above the sea of flames I arrived, riding the ice flame tiger as I treaded upon the void. Before the volcano stood a multitude of saint-grade demonic beasts and above. There was even a terrifying presence among them, emanating the aura of a half-step great emperor. Master, this is the inheritance ground of the Flame Emperor. For these demonic beasts to surround it, they must be harboring a sinister scheme. Just as the Wood Emperor had said, the Flame Emperor never sealed himself away. He did not perish, but has remained here all along, guarding the Demon Emperor. I gazed at the bronze walls and iron partitions before me. My expression remained indifferent. It matters not. They need only be slaughtered. The ice flame tiger, that colossal beast with the head of a bull and the body of a wolf, let out a thunderous roar. The old bull, the ice flame tiger, was somewhat astonished. It was the mount of the Flame Emperor. Strength Ox, the Snow Emperor is dead. Is this your new master? Strength Ox glared at me and asked coldly, and yet you brought him here? Why? Old bull, you should know. Before the Demon Emperor fell into slumber, he commanded our masters to offer their lives as a sacrifice. Your master dared to disobey that decree. What is his intention? And what if he did? My master possesses heaven-defying strength. Why should he die? Had he not protected the Demon Emperor for 10,000 years, the Emperor would have surely been disturbed long ago. This concerns the inheritance left by the Demon Emperor, the 5 elements saint artifact, which my master must obtain. The ice flame tiger did not retreat. If that is the case, then let war commence. So many years have passed, yet you are still merely a saint, while I have already reached the half-step great emperor realm. Do you think I fear you? I signaled the ice flame tiger to step back and slowly ascended into the air. The bull-like beast stared at me, suddenly taken aback. You possess no demonic aura. You are not a demon. You are a human. The horde of demons fell into chaos, their killing intent soaring to the heavens. That a human dared to trespass into the demon emperor's secret realm was an unforgivable affront to their dignity. Facing the ferocious sea of beasts, my expression remained calm and my voice steady. Within 3 breaths, retreat or perish. You are far too arrogant. Brothers, kill him together. Do not let him approach the demon emperor. Strength Ox roared savagely, and countless demonic beasts took to the air. I spoke a single chilling word: extinguish. A terrifying aura engulfed the world, instantly sweeping across the flame sea. Countless demonic beasts in the sky were reduced to dust in the blink of an eye. This shockwave stirred the coffin buried beneath the volcano. As the churning lava, a man clad in red armor, brandishing a blade, soared into the sky. His cold eyes locked firmly onto mine. He looked toward the trembling coffin and muttered in a low voice, "So he has finally arrived. Otherwise you would not have reacted so violently. Let me go and kill him. From this moment forth, your heart shall be mine." He turned his gaze toward me and bellowed, "I am the Flame Emperor. Get out of here and hand over the inheritance of the Saint artifact, and I may spare your life." I've responded with total composure. "In your dreams." The Flame Emperor unleashed a powerful surge of sword chi, but it vanished in midair 100 miles away from me, leaving him with a look of utter shock. He clearly did not expect that I had already stepped into the Heavenly Emperor realm. I glanced at the red-bodied, wooden-handled sword in his hand. I spoke calmly. "You have already fused 2 sacred artifacts. I do not believe I cannot kill you," he roared. With a thunderous cry, he mobilized the entire sea of flames. Hundreds of lava flame dragons surged forward, but the ice-shattering cold sacred sword struck. Its extreme cold intent instantly froze the dragons, shattering them into pieces. Great cold Kunpeng strike. Behind me, the phantom of an ice-cold Kunpeng manifested. It let out a long, piercing cry before soaring straight through the Flame Emperor's body. He was pinned in place by the sword chi. His eyes were filled with nothing but despair. Though he was a Heavenly Emperor, before a late-stage Heavenly Emperor, his so-called invincible status was nothing but a joke. Sever. I joined 2 fingers and made a light swiping motion. The sword light descended, and the Flame Emperor's soul was utterly dissipated. I took his storage ring, and that fused dragon sword. It was a long sword with a fire attribute. In an instant, the 4 sacred artifacts on my person resonated and fused into one in the air. They transformed into a golden orb, rotating with 5-colored radiance. The 5 elements chaos orb. Every strike carried the power of the 5 elements, and it could nurture my great Tao of the 5 elements. "You have arrived," that hollow voice echoed once more. I flashed before the coffin, staring at the heavy chains bound around it. "Was it you who has been speaking all this time? Rescue me, and the answer will naturally be revealed." With a casual strike, I slashed open the coffin lid. Demonic ki surged wildly as a peerless beauty slowly opened her eyes. Her aura was initially that of a peak Heavenly Emperor, but it strangely and rapidly weakened. Finally stopping at the Saint realm, she flew toward me and embraced me without hesitation. This familiar feeling caused me no sense of repulsion whatsoever. "You have finally come." In an instant, countless images flickered deep within the sea of consciousness of the Azure Emperor. A figure clad in green robes stood atop a lotus, roaring at the billions of members of the demon race. "Today is the day our demon race ascends to the heavens. Follow me to crusade against the god race." The face within those images looked exactly like my own. I am the Azure Emperor, but who is the Azure Emperor? And what exactly is the god race? I lowered my head, adrift in confusion. The woman in my arms had fallen asleep from sheer exhaustion. I held her close and vanished, reappearing beside the frost flame tiger. It spoke in terror. "Is this the demon emperor? Is this truly your demon emperor? Then, do you know of the Azure Emperor?" The frost flame tiger trembled all over, retreating in horror. "Of course I know him. The Azure Emperor is the legend of the demon race, the only true god. It told me that 700,000 years ago, the Azure Emperor used his peerless might to rule the demon realm, and during the great war against the god race, he stood alone against the myriad gods, inflicting heavy wounds upon them all, ultimately opening the demon realm to preserve our race." Then do you know what the Azure Emperor looked like? I do not. Portraits and statues of the Azure Emperor were all destroyed in that great war. Only a select few of the demon race know. Does the demon emperor know? I gazed at the slumbering demon emperor, my heart filled with complex emotions. Could the 8 skeletal remains the heavenly Tao commanded me to find all be my past incarnations? I stored the coffin away and issued a command to the frost flame tiger. "Let us depart from